I've been bout my papyrus since I've been in it. Put me in a debate, you know I'm gon' win it. If I scream black power, don't get timid. If I say black city, I'm talking about Kemet. If I say black city, I'm talking about Kemet. Primary research and we done pushed it to the limits. All you dudes finished. The king counting cattle up with brother Reggie. When I'm in Oakland, smoke spoken, bro, they love the Chevy. Back in the day, it was the spokes on the chariot. Long procession when the king got carried out to every spot. Woman looking nice as ISIS. I read ancient texts, so my advice is priceless. Nubian gold, your ice don't entice us. Beating me harder than counting grains in your spices. Your heart was beating, but your brain dead, you're lifeless. Yo, they ain't nothing like us, yo. Don't try to make me mad. Make me smile and say you love me, man. That's real right there. Yeah, come on. You should listen to your main man's advice. Do a YouTube, apologize like Dice. On a back fade, coming like the Antichrist. Egyptologists see me reading and said that I'm nice. I got a speller with your name on it. I'm like Sargon. You the type of dude wake up in your car gone. Told, cause of the money you owe. Before you stream, you should clean up that humble abode. Like Akhenaten City for my woman in gold. I keep the pseudos running, people coming in droves. You catch me on a live stream with Pan-African James. When we building, call us by our African names. I'm for the children. And ain't nothing happened to change. We on that black hype, so we still packing them things for protection. Got connections. My complexion, pure black, that's the essence. Make me smile. You love me? Show me some love. All right.
What's up all over the world? It ain't late night all over the world. It's early morning. Shout out to my people overseas tapping in where it's early morning. My people on the East Coast, it's real late night. I'm going to put out a little promo, see if some people from Instagram want to watch the video. I'm going to play one more song and get into what I was about to do. I was sitting here just about to study, and I'm like, why am I not streaming? Get some more content up. And I got a good document that support everything we've been saying about Kush. But let's get it popping and play one more song.
Yeah, and I'ma work cause I ain't going out lazy, bruh. Thought he was conscious, but the homie just played me, bruh. The house of consciousness is going out crazy, bruh. They crazy, bruh. Alright, it's getting kinda dirty in these YouTube streets. The Amin Ra squad, God thinking you dudes weak. Islam or Judaism, where you learn what you dudes teach. The West African rappers slapping with that voodoo speech. All that sub-Saharan terror about a kufu feet. I'm like Norma, that agricultural farmer that grew you wheat for the storehouses. We feed the Hebrews and lead the people when we defeat the feeble. They wanna know polite rip me off, but Sonetta paid me my money though. That mean he 100. And I'ma work cause I ain't going out lazy, bruh. Thought he was conscious, but the homie just played me, bruh. The house of consciousness is going out crazy, bruh. They crazy, bruh. Nubian with the Jews, I rock the pinky. I think Jesus got to save me. A doctor save me, a Dr. Inky. I cop the copper jewels all blue and red. I'm not the chakra doctor y'all claim woke. But you in bed, you won't pop a chopper, you Grandmaster J. You just talking. Punks turn the other cheek and you will walk away. Y'all gon' have to pardon my Moorish. That's Taharka Bay. I'm on that black African power on my darkest day. And that's my brother Ankh stomping them other punks. We brought them gators to Italy, you loving the Moors. And now I'm teaching from my shrine like brother Jabari. Scoping the savannah cause I'm on another safari. Tasha K showed us Frank record. Young Pharaoh just losing his mind and y'all can't help him. I know
I'm about to talk about him. Shot 12, he's all in this document.
Out here donating to Umar school, that shit through. And I'ma work cause I ain't going out lazy, bruh. Thought he was conscious, but the homie just played me, bruh. The house of consciousness is going out crazy, bruh. They crazy, bruh. Look. You showing your hidden colors like Tariq Nasheed. A bunch of pseudo information I don't think I need. Probably lying on the text, ask Divine or Zion Lex. Just get that microphone ready. With Metal Netta, I'm Stone Jetty, a Ujahu, a Saw Imhotep. Y'all probably timid still on them Bobby Hemming teachings. I'm in Gozy with the DNA. You cats corny and it's killing me too. You talk that black shit, but you look Arab like Gorilla Hebrew. You need therapy, they telling me just chillin', be cool. I'm a magi orchard, you a sad guy talking. And I'm a worker, 'cause I ain't going out lazy, bruh. Thought he was conscious, but the homie just played me, bruh. The house of consciousness is going out crazy, bruh. They crazy, bruh.
But I'm gonna turn that off because YouTube be on my head if I play that beat for too long. So I'm gonna go and just get right into it. All about YouTube topics. And you know, just dang, it took hella long for that to pop up. Stuff I be studying. Like I was saying, South 12, I was just reading a document written by Jeremy Pope. It's actually his book, but it's in the document I got, called The Double Kingdom. All this talking we've been doing, and I ain't even read the book. And it's about 300 something pages, so it's a real read. But I was just like, damn. But yeah, them tunes was all fights over Egypt. You know what I mean? Let me get this right. So what's up, man? I have a few things up on the screen. And right now I was reading over the inscriptions because it was something that Alexandra Nibby said about Kemet being outside of Egypt, being thrown outside of the walls of Egypt or whatever. And I wanted to scrutinize that claim because I'm like, hold on. Then when I just looked last night, it didn't appear to say it that way. But I'm gonna draw our attention to it so we can start, you know what I mean, focus to see what that really say though. But I'm gonna put some stuff on the screen just so you can see what I'm looking at. Shout out to anybody up on a late night. This was just the historical records of Ramses III, the text at Medinet Habu, volumes 1 and 2, translated with explanatory notes. All right. So this is one book with the actual translations, but you know, I was going over the Medu Neter, and then I was realizing that this Medu Neter they were speaking was from, it's a little bit later time period, Ramses III. It's the beginning of like late Egyptian. So if I put this text in front of people who be saying they can read the glyphs face, a lot of us would make a lot of mistakes because I was doing it. That's how I know. I'm not saying it like it's a big deal or anything. I just, if you don't study late Egyptian, and it's not really late Egyptian, it's just starting to change. It ain't the Middle Kingdom text. You feel me? It ain't that literature. It ain't Middle Egyptian. But even reading these stories, And I had not gone through this book exhaustively. I just was looking at the section of the text that I wanted to scrutinize. It's from, let me show you. I got it open somewhere. Oh, it's open over here. Dang, I don't know. Refresh. Maybe I need to clean out some memory for Chrome, because this ain't even here. It was just here. Now it's just twirling. Well, we'll see if that source comes back. You know what I'm saying? And what's going on with that right now? Why is this taking so long? I'm gonna stop it, bro. Well, I had this text up here. I was just looking at. Maybe am I tripping? Let me see something. Yeah, here go the Double Kingdom book that we're gonna get into, and he started out by looking over the two theories. The one theory of the Kushite king's birthplace being Meroe, and the other theory of Meroe being like a victim of Egyptianization at that time period. But let me try to find the text I want to see. It's still twirling. I hate that it's doing that right now. Let me close out some of these windows. Now stop twirling. Cool. Well, damn, I don't know. My computer must be on the fritz. If it just got a twirl on a document like this, I'll be seeing people stuff do this like, damn, but I can't clean your computer. I got a few free gigs, so this got to be something going on with the memory inside of Google, man. Or maybe it's just start doing this because I started streaming. You know how that be. So I'll just watch it twirl while I look at the translations. One thing I noticed is I had not got to the part where he was talking, where Ramses III was talking harsh about Nubians yet. Like they always show us these images where he showed different people from different areas captive. But we also know in his tomb, he showed himself, or he showed the image of the average, the everyday person looking like what they would call a Nubian, right? Damn, I want these glyphs to pop back up. They taking hella long. It ain't gonna even work. I'm gonna close it. So how did I find that the first time? Let me remember how I found that. I'll get it right back up. Hold up. See, Google moving fine. Shout out to the people who up on the late night that's tapping in. We about to have a good session. Let me see. All right, let me find. I'm pulling that source back up because I got it over here saved. Let me just find it. Right here. Now, if it do that again, so if it do that again, then I gotta blame it on the Oriental Institute because, whatever, let's go outside. Like it's just twirling again. I re-pulled the link up, so I forget it. I'm gonna get it in on the Double Kingdom. But just to finish out, what Ramses III was talking about on the temple at Medinet Habu was his battles and fights with Libyans and the Sea Peoples. It's quite weird that somebody got to correct me, and I know you can't go to Sinroset and say that these are documentation of the battles with the Nubians and stuff. And I haven't even got to that part of the text. But as I was just reading, I was like, I need to read what he's saying. He felt the same way about the people of the South. But if this was an invasion that Egypt was suffering at the time, of some people they call the C people. Man, this is still twirling, so it probably just ain't gonna work. Some people they call the C peoples. See if I can find another source on that. I don't know why. It's cool. We're gonna do this other stuff. I ain't even tripping off that no more. But that's for you can just go to MetaNet Habu Volume 1. Somebody could look up MetaNet Habu Volume 1 at the Chicago Oriental Institute or what have you. They changed the name. It say ISAC Chicago Institute. And see if that document pop up for you, but it ain't popping up for me. But anyway, these C people who had invaded in the times of Ramses III, they was like on it. They was on one. And they got kind of like beat up. It was all different type of tribes. He wrote them out from the Mesh West, the Libu, who we probably think is the Libyans, the Sheridan, who's probably some northern people, and a few others, you know what I mean? They was all there. And they really got beat up. But some of the people amongst them, and even a particular tribe called the Pelishtet. And historians say the Pelishtet may be the historical Philistines. The Pelishtet, they were these good fighters, right? And the reason why is because what Ramses III was a beast. What he did, he was, all right, when they talk about slavery and that type of stuff in Egypt, you know, it comes down to being a warrior and asking yourself what you're going to do with the people who just tried to overthrow you or who was fighting against you. What you going to do? You answer that question. Either you're going to kill them or you're going to let them live. And then if you let them live in a certain way, they could come back to get you, right? These are the type of things kings be having to think about, especially in time periods like this. And so people was getting subjugated, but I noticed Egypt wasn't really like that. What they would do, they went for what they did in this instance was build a fortress. Or they built, whatever you want to call it, you could say the worst things, a concentration camp. But I don't think it was like that. They like banished these people to a particular area in the Levant. It was either called Taru. It was either called Taru or Jahi. I'll look it up. But historians try to link this place up with the home of the Philistines. Philistines? Which one was Goliath? A Philistine, yeah. And so, I don't know, but anyway, you don't want to have to like take real records and then see little stories they told and mix the two up. But nevertheless, those people are in history. Pelishtet, who might be the Philistines. All right, I'm going to get up out of here. The MetaNet never opened up. So let's go on and just deal with the Double Kingdom. Because this is what I've been telling cats, and I've been reading this. I'm probably about to do some readership. I ain't even tripping. Not too much, though. But I want y'all to see how he was breaking this down. So this is written by Jeremy Pope. And even, I just want to read this section on the notes, on the terminology chronology, orthography, and maps used in this document. And he gonna prove something we've been talking about Kush and stop messing up Nubia and Kush. See, I'm finding the documents that show it. I gotta make it bigger so y'all can read along. Maybe not that big, golly. So it says, the terminology used to describe the ancient history of the Middle Nile varies considerably amongst published literature. And so I've endeavored in this book to employ the existing terms in a way that seems least likely to generate or perpetuate confusion as the field progresses in future decades. And this is my partner right here. He says, the adjective, not like that, but the adjective Nubian is the most conspicuous example, right? It does not appear to have been used as a term of ethnic identification by the ancients until the final centuries of antiquity. So what do I always say? Man, he said that so much better than me. Oh, it's an error for YouTube? Okay, shout out to you. Okay, so yeah, that's not my computer. That's the Oriental Institute hating on us seeing the knowledge because I was about to show people. The ghost in the machine was hating. Let's check it out, though. I always tell people this, but I say it in layman's terms. He said, the adjective Nubian is the most conspicuous example. It does not appear to have been used as a term of ethnic identification by the ancients until the final centuries of antiquity. What's the final centuries of antiquity? The Greeks. Man, would you stop playing with me? The final centuries of antiquity is the Greeks ruling Egypt. You want to go back? I mean, we talk about 300 down. You know what I'm talking about? And if you're going to get then you get the, 30 BC and we start dealing with the Romans, something like that. And so the final periods of antiquity is when Greeks start saying this word Nubian. The adjective Nubian is the most conspicuous example. It does not appear to have been used as a term of ethnic identification by the ancients until the final century of antiquity. But it has conveniently been used by scholars to describe places, polities, and persons of much earlier epochs, including those covered in this book. Now, I'm just going to I'm going to take all these quotes and put them in a presentation so that I have them for when people keep messing up Nubia and Kush. There are, as yet, no antiquated terminological substitutes for the regional designations of Upper and Lower Nubia. We don't know what they called that. Everything he say, I'm going to say it in layman terms so you can understand it. But he says no adequate terminological substitutes for the regional designations of Upper and Lower Nubia, despite their inherent anachronisms. You want me to repeat that again? Indeed, there are as yet no adequate terminological substitutes for the regional designation of Upper and Lower Nubia, despite their inherent anachronisms. So we know it's an anachronism. It ain't cool to call it that, but we ain't even got no adequate terminological substitute. Oh, I got to start remembering that. Well, unless you come up with an adequate terminological substitute, bruh, I got to say it. So our terminological substitute is what the ancient Egyptians said. But you can't confuse Nehesi with Nubia all the way. The ancient Egyptians said Nehesi. Okay, Nehes, N-H-S, for that area. Now, watch how he renders this. In the page that follows, the term Nubian and Nubian are therefore used outside of the quotes passages in their toponymic sense, but not in their ethnic sense. Golly, why don't y'all just get that? Toponymic means dealing with the area. It's a region of gold. It ain't no race. They made that up for you to, that's weaponized Egyptology. They made up a term called Nubian to take what they take. So when they're doing anthropology and they find what they would call the true Negroid phenotype in the areas of Egypt, we could just categorize that as Nubian and keep it pushing. And when we find the other phenotypes that are African, but they match up with others because we got the most diversity in Africa, then we can say them Egyptians. But he doing it right. In the pages that follow, the term Nubian are therefore used outside of quoted passages in their toponymic sense, but not in their ethnic sense. The royalty of the 25th dynasty will be described as Kushite. Stop playing with me. What you mean the Nubians? What you mean the Nubians? Whatever. I don't get mad because everybody don't go this deep and everybody don't know. But when you start to learn your own history, you got to know, right? Is it your history Nubian? Black history, bro. People got to stop tripping. Like when you learn white history, they don't even say, I mean, they'll break it down, but the whole continent of Europe claimed the legacy of Greece. Stop playing with me. Because they just call it Western civilization. See? And then they just lump everybody in. But anyway, the toponym Nubia is used throughout the present work as one inclusive of both Upper and Lower Nubia, while the toponym Kush is taken here to be roughly synonymous with Upper Nubia, but not necessarily inclusive of. Dude, he's saying it just like I be saying. And shout out to the archers popping up in the chat. I see y'all. He's saying it just like I be trying to say, but he's doing a much better job. Right? Because it do encompass, when we show the map, let me show you. We always say that. Yeah, let me see. Let me try this map. No. Because I fell asleep at about 6, 7 o'clock. So I'm going to be up studying until somebody hit me on WhatsApp trying to work or something. But too much shit ain't happening right now. I click stuff. It's supposed to happen, bro. There you go. So we getting up the known map so everybody can keep it in. Y'all always, it's just the biggest problem about what people think about Egypt. This is Lower Egypt. This the booty. This the booty. This the butt. This the toes. This the feet. The bottom. This Lower Egypt. This the shit Greeks would come in and take over, and real motherfuckers wasn't even tripping. They'd be like, let them come down here, get some of this. And then the further, if they could take some down here, then we just gonna go a little deeper. Boy, they couldn't even penetrate this for hella long. They penetrated it, it took hella long. But they was getting rifled up. You ain't never even read none of them stories. That's because they don't let you read none of that. Impenetrable Africa, it wasn't the heat, it wasn't the weather, it was the Magi archers. All the way up into the Roman period, till they start all the way up into Amani Shaketo, right? And Amani Renes. And we still hear, what's the first thing I just said? Amen. Stop playing. They want you to think these Nubians was on a whole different height. They came through Amani Renes. If you know Metal Netcher, you could take that so-called Nubian name and break it down and tell me what it means right now. Write it in the chat, because people think I'm playing. But we know this shit right. Somebody gonna write it in the chat. And I could break it down to you, and you don't have to know MetaNetter to know the shit we be saying. Because we could explain it for the regular person. Most motherfuckers got a problem doing that. They too stuck trying to stay in that scholastic presentation and shit. And everything fly over the average person head and shit. I ain't gonna do Amani Shaketo. We might have a few more problems, but think about how the Shaketo, we think about Shabaka. There's something up with that show right there, but I'm not gonna go there because we can find that right in the ancient Egyptian. That Shah leading back to the fields, these particular fields. But what I want to talk about, I just mentioned Amani Renez, who was one of the Nubian queens who, when the Romans was trying to penetrate, because you see, it's like this. We at Thebes right now. We in Kemet. But we in Upper Egypt. Now, Upper Egypt is also a name Egyptians. I mean, your daughter name is Amani Renez? Okay, we're going to break that name down. That's a beautiful name. Now, now you can look at the name and check this out. Look, you see Amen in the beginning, right? Yep, and you can take Amen how you want to take that, but my man said Amen is for God. Now you see an I after Amen. Now let me break down what's happening right there. If I'm gonna put it in ways we all could understand it. If I say Israel, you think of a location. If I say Israel you think of a person from that location or a person related to that location. If I say Sudan, you think of an area, but if I say Sudan then you start to think of what? A person from that area, right? I appreciate the compliments and the kind words in the chat. So look, if you say Sudan or Sudan, the only difference you're doing is putting the I at the end of the root word to let me know you mean one who is related to that root word, right? So when you say Amani, you are saying one who is related to Amen. See? Now, Ren in ancient Egyptian means a name. Your Ren is your name. S represents femininity. It is a feminine one. So Amani Renez, one of Amen is her name. That's just how it would be. That's what it would be in the ancient Egyptian. One of Amen, that is her name. And you can ask anybody you can take that little snippet that I just said to any motherfucking Egyptologist in the world. And if now they're trying to mount a contention because what I just said seemed pretentious in the video, but before that point, they just would have been like, yeah, that's facts. And you can't really get around it because you have to have a breakdown just as good as that. But all of those, so Ren, the S, if you put an S after the Ren, you're suffixing a X, a S on the root Ren, which is a name. If you suffix a F, that's his name. Renef would have been his name. Renes is her name. Now, Amani, one of Amen is her name. That's just that right there. But anyway, let's go back. It ain't no Upper Egypt. That's an Egyptological term. To match up with something that it does not translate back to. Remember that. You always know when the fix is in if you get a term that matches something that it does not translate to. Let me show you what I mean. I mean, that might happen a lot of times, like, right? Thebes don't translate to Waset. So that's not what I mean, because you know the Greeks came and named it Thebes. Oh, well, you can say that about Egypt too, right? But my point is still valid, that Upper Egypt, upper doesn't line up to Ta. Ta means land. See? And I don't really know what Shema means. I could think in my head, But just that word, I only know Tashama'u as a compound word, which is what we translate back to Upper Egypt. But you know, Shama'u is not a term for Egypt, right? If we come to what they call Lower Egypt, Ta isn't lower. How could Ta be lower and upper? Ta. So that this is a concept that I don't want to say ancient Egyptians wouldn't have known this concept, but they would it wouldn't have been referred to in this way. And the reason why I'm saying it is because these two areas are turned into one by ancient Egyptians, but they were seen as the two lands. Two lands. Not Upper Egypt, Lower Egypt, which is one land. You unify two lands, you still have two lands. Now, why is that important? But because it's important because later we see the expansion of this and people don't understand it and Egyptology won't teach it. But Jeremy Pope will teach it. But I'm expanding on some of, well, I don't know if I'm expanding on anything because I haven't finished this book. I only seen him present on it. But his book is 340 something pages. So I know he got more to say about it and he might touch on what I'm touching on. And the theory is like this. How they teach us about Upper Egypt and Lower Egypt. And then in the concept of us learning that Upper Egypt, which is Southmore, if you get an understanding of that, we'll talk about that later. It deals about how the river flows. So upper, which is the head, the top, the brain, in every mental, in every language, it don't stop. The humans, we think the same. The head, the top is always, that's why you say the top of the organization. That's the head of the organization. But your organization is a body because you just said an organization, which is a collection of organisms, but you don't want to go there. We won't go there. Organization is having things in order, but we are using this biological anatomy to even talk about things like running a business. Well, we do it geographically too. And so we can find things synonymous with this being the head, like headquarters, just like that. Matter of fact, the headquarters would be Thebes. Way down here, where now they say you find the black people. Because it's not that somebody came in and pushed the black people who was in these areas down. Some of that happened. I'll show you, right? I'll show you. I got the text. None of this shit is like jargon from the 70s. I'm taking you straight to where it say it in the books. And they did that too. In the primary language, they did all that. I'm just not looking at myself like that. I'm just saying. We got new technology we can show you like Buddha Bip. They would have had to print this. They would have had to print this map out and put it on a big ass overhead projector. So I'm not taking credit for the technology we got that helps us to see things faster and easier. Well, you see Upper Egypt, now we know that's not a term. It's really Tashama'u, right? And I don't know why I'm not remembering what Shama'u means right now. Somebody could put it in the chat. But when we come to Ta'mehu, my memory is more here for me right now, at least because we know the land. Mehu is a few different ways you can look at that. There's one Mehu that means to whip, but it is a whip. A Mehu is a whip, and you'll see it written with the whip sometimes. But you seeing the whip might make you think the wrong way. Mehu also means to fill. And you could ask, okay, which one go better? Was they whipping the people up here, or does the delta fill with water? You know what I'm saying? When they're talking about these areas here, Tamehu. Now, that's what we got. That's what they had. They never had Lower Egypt. They never had that. They never had Upper Egypt. No ancient Egyptians had that. So this is what I want you to see. Tamehu was one land. Tashema'u was another land. When a strong king would come, what would he do? Unite the two lands. Two, the word TWO, two is central to this presentation. And I'm just coming off the top. I'm not like, I didn't put nothing together. But I want you to keep in mind the word two is central to this, because the word two is going to switch to double when we say the double kingdom. But if you say double, it don't signify unification. You see what I mean? It make you think it's just a double kingdom. We got to talk about how this worked and how Jeremy Pope put it forth. But I'm still trying to get you to see what I think I see. So if this was just the land of Tashema'u, which encompasses the birthplace of Egypt, the birthplace of Egypt, yes, the heartland of Egypt, the headquarters of Egypt, and the first nome of Egypt, which was Ta-Seti, which sat some in Egypt and some outside of Egypt, right? Some of it going into the areas of Lower Nubia, that wasn't a term either. They got the accurate term here, Wawat. Wawat. Now, if I come up here, we see Waset, but it's an area, well, let's just talk about Wawat, right? We're in this eastern desert over here. A lot of the warriors who Egypt would call on when they had beef, right? They gonna get people from around here and then go back up and fight. So a lot of the fighting was taking place really between Africans who were deeper in Africa and people who were north more, when they call this an area of confluence. Well, some of those people who were doing that were problematic to the ancient Egyptian, right? People in Tamehu. And so if we do have an understanding that these were two separate kingdoms, we have to explore how would these kingdoms expand? Because, okay, during the now, even the unification of Egypt, all that, man, it's true, and all that's true. But it don't be right. Like, all right, from Dynasty 1 to Dynasty 6, we got some unification. But then it fall off at Dynasty 6 to Dynasty 11. Families. So Dynasty 7 through 11 was fighting each other. They wasn't waiting for the last family to die to start their dynasty. They was all beefing. 7 through 11. Right? And then they start hooking up with each other. And this king that Brother Reggie was talking about, King Keta in the north, he wasn't really nobody. But he was a king who claimed Tamehu, that land. Right? Oh, that's another research to do. The research is looking at these intermediate period kings and seeing, was they saying the two lands are just their side. Cause see, when you just got the white crown, like y'all, look, he put it in there. You got the white crown, say Tashemu. You got the red crown, say Tamehu. Exactly. The red crown is the North or Lower Egypt. The white crown is I don't want to say it's the real crown, but it's the crown, bro. It's that one. I don't know how to say it in a way to be accurate. Because the red crown goes back old too, but we got to understand what I'm talking about. The expansion, the contraction and the expansion of these two, I don't want to say kingdoms, of these two lands, right? The expansion and the contraction and expansion of Ta-Mehu and Ta-Shema'u, particularly Ta-Shema'u, is, I ain't gonna say it went all the way down to Kush, but it did. See, I can't wait to finish reading this document because I know what he found in it. Something that I've been telling y'all for a long time and ain't had no document to prove it. I already know what he about to have to say. So let me start reading this to y'all. Because this is hella good, bro. And I'm ready for a little bit of readership. I got a little bit of energy. So I read some of this. Let me see where we at. Where did we stop? Oh, he said, in the pages that follow, the term Nubia and Nubian are therefore used outside of quoted passages in their toponymic sense, but not in their ethnic sense. The royalty of the 25th dynasty will be described as Kushite rather than Nubian. Now, why is Kushite not bad and Nubian is? Nubian has been weaponized. Nubian is fake. He just told you wouldn't know ancient know what you was talking about. If you said Kushite, an ancient wouldn't know what you was talking about. But if we are correct with the consonants we got, if you say Kush, they would know what you're talking about. If you say Kush-E, just like we say Israeli, just like we say Sudani, they would know what you're talking about. That is an ancient term. Kush-E, one of Kush. But now we're saying Kushite, just like we say meteorite. Ite goes on anything that came from something. So if you came from Kush, you a Kushite. You came from a meteor, you a meteorite. Same thing. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, later, well, I'm sorry, rather than Nubian. So he's describing it as Kushite rather than Nubian. Okay. The toponym Nubia is used throughout the present. I read all this, but I'll read it again. Present work as one inclusive of both Upper and Lower Nubia, while the toponym Kush is taken here to be roughly synonymous with Upper Nubia, but not necessarily inclusive of Lower Nubia. Let's go back to the map so you can feel how strong he is. You see, this is what he called Upper Nubia. You notice it don't say Upper Nubia here? It just say Kush, because they made that up. This is Lower Nubia. Where did Upper Nubia go? And that's why he's excluding it too. In the document, he said, I'm not even about to, what I'm talking about don't include nothing of that pseudo, what? He said, He said, while the toponym Kush is taken here to be roughly synonymous with Upper Nubia, but it's not necessarily synonymous with Lower Nubia. Because he's basically saying, where you would say Upper Nubia, I'm just going to say Kush. Or Upper Nubia is synonymous with Kush. And he's just going to use that. Which is cool. Let's keep reading. Let me take a sip. Watch how he break it down. Excuse me. Similar caution has proven necessary for other terms. Though the toponym Ta-Seti has conveniently been translated as Nubia and Bowland throughout the published literature, I opt here for a more precise translation as Land of Setbo. Land of the Setbo. following the meticulous recommendation of A. Vinogradov, Gradov, on the rendering of the toponym Tasseti. Likewise, though it has been customary in Egyptology to translate Senet and Nisut as king's, or Senet Nisut as king's sister, and Sin Nisut as king's brother, this translation must be treated with caution for the Kushite royals, as the Egyptian terms Sinut Nisut and Sin Nisut did not necessarily refer to the siblings of Kushite kings in all cases. Man, I be saying that. You be thinking it's their sibling and it's not. And then when they get married to somebody else and you thinking that's something, man, they ain't even, man, you reading the meta wrong, bro. They read it all wrong and presupposed hella stuff on it. But there was some bloodline ancestral type stuff, but not as much as they thought. Let me see. It says, in acknowledgement of this ambiguity, the more cautious translation of royal king's kinswoman and royal kinsmen are preferred here outside of passages quoted from secondary literature. On this point, I seek especially to honor the insights of the bibliography of J. Revis. I hope I said that right. The role of the King brothers in the transmission of the royal power in ancient Egypt and Kush, a cross-cultural study. In my own translations, I have also avoided the equation of with chief because it is too close to, well, I don't want to read this whole section because I'm wasting my readership, and all I wanted y'all to, I ain't gonna have the ability to read all night, and I only wanted y'all to get the point about Nubia, but he goes on with other terms that he wants you to know how he uses them too. And then we could get to the start of the document. Now, peep gang, he busting wigs with this. And this my man, he armed me with these documents for the pseudos. Straight email, even though they public. He like, bro, you having a problem with that? Huh? Whoop they wig with this. And if they say this, whoop they wig with this. And if they question the ancient, the Nubian or the Kushite antecedent to ancient Egypt, whoop they wig with this. But this one I haven't even, I have not even been over. That's why I said I can't get back at him till next fall, because you wanna know why? I ain't even read all the stuff he asked me to read. So it's gonna take at least a year to do that. But I'm not the type of dude who's gonna reconvene with you and not read what you asked me to read. That's crazy. So here we go. Long before the 25th dynasty, the new kingdom pharaohs of Egypt found it impossible to rule both Egypt and Kush in person, all the way from the Mediterranean coast, well over 2,000 miles, well over 3,200 kilometers, to Napata and the fourth cataract of the Nile. The 25th dynasty had exactly the same problem, albeit technically in reverse. It took up to 3 weeks to sail from Memphis to Thebes alone, and surely almost 3 months to go from Memphis to Napata, or 6 months, half a year, to send up and have a reply. So if you want to send something down there and get a reply back, that's 6 months. You trying to rule the kingdom. I love how he breaks this down. And that was from Kenneth Kitchen. Here's another quote from a Robert Moorcock. It says, the huge extent of the Kushite state, excluding Egypt, embraced Nubian Nile Valley and Sudanese savanna, separated by tracts of desert. How was it possible for one king to control all of that territory? How did the Kushite monarch function? We about to learn, bruh. You send out a little colony down the river, say, man, go set it up, call it what y'all want to call it. Call it Egypt if y'all want to call it. I don't care. Just make sure y'all rocking that thing right. And when we come through, make sure y'all doing everything fundamentally correct. This is my argument. The Kushites were the fundamentalists of the ancient Egyptians. They knew the glyphs the best. They got the best, as Lithium says, the best, most well-written textual document left to us in ancient Egyptian is from the Kushites. How could that happen? Don't trip, because if we look at like a Kushite stela or something, we find it, they might not have had everybody commit. Egypt was doing what it wanted to do. Kemet, not even Kemet, Tashmau, Tamehu was doing what they wanted to do. And they had a little bit of separatism too, but I'm gonna let them read it. I'm gonna let them say it how he say it. He gonna say it better than me. So watch this. The establishment of Kushite rule over Egypt during the 8th and 7th centuries BC resulted in a political state of extraordinary geographical dimensions and ecological diversity. From their dynastic homelands within Africa's tropical belt, the rulers of the 25th dynasty exerted differential forms of political control southward into the savannah, latitudinally across the Sahel, and northward over 3,000 kilometers through the Nile corridor and desert oasis to the Mediterranean marshes of the, man, I gotta remember this sentence, Mediterranean marshes of the Egyptian Delta, bruh. I say that sitting next to you on the airplane, you ain't gonna know what to do. I'm gonna remember that sentence. Let me start over. The establishment of the Kushite rule over Egypt. Now, all right, this is how I'm going to say it to the person at the bar. Because, see, you can do this. This is life. I'll be like, man, I'm going to try to make it sound more conversational. Let me see. The establishment of the Kushite rule over Egypt during the, 8th and 7th century BC, that resulted in a political state of extraordinary geographical dimensions, bruh. And ecological diversity. I'm talking about from the dynastic homeland within Africa's tropical belt. Man, the rulers of the 25th dynasty started differential forms of political control and southward into the savannah latitudinally along the Sahel. They're gonna be like, what is this fool doing sitting right here? I'm just playing. It's late night, dog. I gotta read all this stuff. I can't even play with it. Golly. Latitudinally along across the Sahel and northward over 3,000 kilometers through the Nile corridor and desert oasis to the Mediterranean marshes of the Egyptian Delta. Famously termed the Double Kingdom, okay, by Egyptologist Gaston Maspero. They would have been like, dang, I would have started getting loud on the airplane a little so they could hear that black dude was up there busting. Let me see. This state also fused Kushite and Egyptian realms that had once been represented as culturally and politically distinct in Egypt royal propaganda and literary topoi, whatever that is. T-O-P-O-I, topoi, whatever. But I like that statement, and I'm going to read this sentence over because I don't like reading if we ain't digesting. Famously termed the Double Kingdom. So let's just stop. It was Gaston Maspero who termed Kush and Egypt the Double Kingdom. This state also fuses Kushite and Egyptian realms that had once been represented as culturally and politically distinct in Egyptian royal propaganda and literary topoi. The dimensions and diversity of the resulting political system raised a number of questions as to how the state would have been structured and administered. Yet the means by which the Double Kingdom was actually governed during the 25th dynasty had never constituted the focus of a monographic study. The book that follows will address precisely this issue. How was it possible for one king to control all of that territory? That's the research question. We should ask ourselves some similar things. How could you even control 30 miles on foot? Anybody? The average farmer with some acres can't even do their acres without machinery. Or hella people. You got to put together a nice system. And it's going to have some men moving at all times. Going up and down that now. I'm just imagining it, but here we go. Let's read what they say. Enfolded with this problem are seven long-standing enigmas that have dogged study. Enigmas that have dodged, D-O-D, have dogged study. Maybe that's a typo. That have dogged study of the dodged. I don't know what dogged study of the 25th dynasty means, but I think they mean dodged study of the 25th dynasty. To what extent were the Kushite pharaohs, y'all can tell me what dog study of the 25th dynasty means. To what extent were the Kushite pharaohs strategies of governance influenced by the circumstances and traditions of their homeland versus the precedents of Egyptian and later Libyan rule in Egypt? Okay, so the precedents of Egyptian and later Libyan rule in Egypt, was their strategies of governance influenced by the circumstance of traditions in their homeland, or the precedents of Egyptians and later rule in Egypt? Okay, cool. Was the basis of Kushite power primarily military or religious? Did the kings of the 25th dynasty appoint a deputy to help them manage the 3,200-kilometer expanse of the Double Kingdom? Would such a position have not been most likely filled by the co-regent, by the god's wife of Amen, or by the queen mother? Oh, he's such a boss. Because he's leading to, the questions he's asking is leading to what we see. See, in Nubia, the queen ruled, it's like this. We wonder why why it's always Nubian queens. They did have husbands, but they was getting killed in the north. Because see, it's a double kingdom. And what I'm going to propose that this question is going to lead to, he says, would such a position have been most likely been filled by the co-regent, by God's wife of Amen, or by the queen's mother? The answer to that might be yes, if we know anything about what they call Nubian history, right? These Nubian queens had husbands. They just ruled a different part of the kingdom, and their part of the kingdom was being encroached upon by Greeks. So all their husbands got killed, most of them. And you can see it right on their stelae and stuff. So if they had a double kingdom and the women was ruling the safer part more to the south, what part of their kingdom was they trying to defend to the north? Egypt. So East Coast, West Coast, I mean, we could do East Coast, West Coast. They definitely could do upper, lower. And how did the policies of the Kushite dynasties differ from those of their Saite successors. Pursuit of these questions has driven the present inquiry beyond certain methodological, geographical, and chronological boundaries which have demarcated earlier published scholarship on the 25th dynasty. What's this word? I said demarcated. Did I say demarcated? All right. I'm tripping. I'll just be stuck on certain words. The dominant methodological approach to the double kinging has been Laszlo Toros' sustained treatment of the Kushite political theology. CSAT 12. This is what I was telling you. We're going to get to some of his work in this reading right here. But I have not visited his work on it. I'm just been reading some of this. Drawing inspiration from the work of the political philosopher Ernest Cassirer, Torok has described the symbolic forms which constituted the Kushite myth of state, e.g., divine sonship, ambulatory kingship, and principles of legitimate succession. To the extent that the state is represented in administrative form within the kingship ideology, it is primarily as a collection of centralized institutions staffed by royal appointees. The present work aims to, we still reading the introduction. He's not really even doing the work yet. But anyway, the present work aims to extend this analysis beyond royal propaganda to give equal attention to regional aristocrats and lesser office holders as reflected in a series of local negotiations and private documents. In this manner, the Kushite myth of state is confronted with the evidence of a highly variable implementation across the realm. The existing literature on the double kingdom of the 25th dynasty has also been characterized by the geographic bifurcation. Oh, I don't like reading words I don't know. Bifurcation. What the hell is bifurcation? We're about to look it up. Bifurcation.
Bifurcation.
A division of something into two branches. Damn, bro. Oh, I'm gonna rip that.
Bifurcation. Bifurcation.
I gotta do a song now.
Bifurcation.
I'll be the first rapper who said bifurcation. It's gonna be about splitting your wig.
Bifurcation.
I'm just playing. Hold on. All right, bifurcation. That's a good word. Man, what's up with all this bifurcation, bruh? Hit somebody off with that. We all know what we just said. Why are you splitting it up like that? All right, so it was characterized. This is why you read, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. You read to increase your vocabulary. When I go into the world tomorrow, I'm going to say, what's up with the 12-slice bifurcation on that pizza? But I messed it up. It should only be bifurcation. 2 parts. Anyway, the existing literature of the double kingdom of the 25th dynasty has also been characterized by the geographic bifurcation in the separate Nubian and Egyptian studies. For real. Now that I know what that word means. When the bifurcation of the separate, well, I need to learn this sentence too. The existing literature on the double kingdom of the 25th dynasty has also been characterized by a geographical bifurcation. Thank you. This is what I'm saying. Y'all split it up into 2. See, it's 1, but it's 2. Like East Coast, West Coast is still America. That's what I mean. Upper, lower, it's done no different. So he's saying, man, y'all split this up in Egyptian studies, man. While the work of Toro, who is it? Zebilis, Shin, and Prius, or Priestess, and others have analyzed the indigenous Kushite foundations of a state as they were represented in the temples and inscriptions south of the Third Cataract. Studies by Luke Plant, Kitchen, Vittman, and Redford, Interior Alios, have focused instead upon the evidence from the states Egyptian have, with particular attention given to Thebes, where administrative documents were most abundant. But notice what he said. They giving all the focus to because Egyptology apparently is Egyptocentric. It don't have to be. Egyptology could look at Egypt and tell you the results of what it finds, but it forecasts the dominance of Egypt on everything it finds. And it'd be like, oh, they were subjects of Egypt. Oh, they were slaves. Oh, they were this. As a matter of fact, I challenge anybody. Let me see. That would be a weak challenge. You'd be able to end that challenge with a quick Google search. I don't want it to be a challenge. What I want is to make note that, all right, you know what a vassal kingdom is? It's just you a satellite king. You like a small little king helping me keep control of a greater area. But when I come around, pay tribute, break bread, right? And so we can find that going on all throughout the Amarna period. Now, there is tribute that goes in one direction, but then there's mutual tribute. But can we call that trade? It's not necessarily trade because it's political. It's not economic. Like, if I give you a golden statue, you can't do nothing economic with that unless you melt it down. You're going to do something political with it. You're going to show your people you the boss because you got a golden statue from Egypt. So that's kind of political. So then, when we find Nubians giving tribute to Egypt, they exploit that. But then I go back and find the opposite. Not only do I find the opposite, I find hell of Egyptians who worked for Cushites. I found bosses of the Egyptians who left the stela. If you prominent enough to have a stela in the ancient times, you would equal just a boss is probably an understatement, but you could at least call them a boss. If they even just had a stela. I was about to say, I know I gotta do it, goddamn. Even if they just had a stela, they had to be a boss. I can show you Egyptian stelae. I don't know the difference. One of them, which one is plural? Like, I'm over here tripping. I'll show you Egyptian stela, right? That dude on there talking about, man, I traveled so far, I was able to build the temple of who? Damn, was it Horus? Damn, I don't want to mess up the temple. He was able to build a particular temple in Kush for the king of Kush. How long y'all think that took? It's kind of like how we talk about America and Israel right now. No, I'm America first, B. Get this shit up out of here. I don't want none of that. We could fix our whole country, we get rid of that, right? So then it was probably Egypt first. See, that's how it went down, bud. They got up, down river, start setting up their whole situation, and eventually they didn't, I don't want to say broke away from the double kingdom, but new families took over one side. So imagine if it is a double kingdom and one side of it get taken over. That's always what happened, y'all. It's no other story. And the black part always had to solve everything. Why I say the black part, I'm just doing that for speaking in layman terms. When you go, nowadays they say when you go to the south around Thebes, it gets blacker in those areas. Well, it was like that traditionally because of the equator. And if you go further south, you'll be on the equator, right where you can find the darkest people. So that ain't just no pseudoism when they say that. Now look, they had Memphite coronations. I bet you your boy, ooh, that's another diss. I bet you, see, I rap for, y'all might think I rap for humans. I rap for humans who lived a long time ago and who gonna live a long time from now. So my lugs might have to last 1,000 years. Babylonian bars, Ugaritic, spit it, get it. The dagger on me, the harpoon, it ain't for abalone. That could last 1,000 years. I'd have said that shit in motherfucking Kemet, in the real time Kemet, and I knew everything I was talking about. Probably wouldn't have known the language, but if we had some language there, I knew exactly that boy getting in there. Anyway, so I'm only saying that to say, the bar that popped in my head was, I bet you got coronated in Memphis. But see, that ain't fly to you. But I'm battling like a pharaoh in the afterlife right now. So I'm about to see. Because I'm talking to this one dude, Tim Rosette. If he got coronated in Memphis, it tells you everything. Did he have a Thebes coronation? How? Oh, he might have. Let me see. I'll just have to change what's in my head if he just ask ChatGPT, somebody, and you can put it in the chat. Where was Sim Rosette coronated? Any of them. So all three mainly known for their burial chambers next to the pyramid of the kings of Deshar. All right. They didn't go to the south to get buried, but let's see what's up. I don't know if that's true what I just said. See, they talk about these campaigns in Nubia, and they exploit them to say, oh, these was wars, but whatever, yeah. I can't find what I'm looking for. I probably forgot what I was looking for, and I just started looking. Too much information. All right, let me get back to the topic. Well, anyway, the point I was trying to make is there were plenty of pharaohs who were coronated in Memphis. They were probably prominent. They was probably just as good, right? But yeah, antediluvian scrolls hit the Nubian pose. Okay. Thebes, that's your bossy coronation. I thought you had to be coronated in Thebes. I mean, the process, you know how you got your like inauguration basically. It's just like a coronation, but it got more to do with is that you know religion is more intertwined with what they was doing. Why in Thebes? Because you going to the heartland. Now look, I'm gonna ask you a question. And this is how I knew that Cleopatra, I don't say shit about no Cleopatra. Talk to me about that. She didn't know nothing. She couldn't. She probably had whatever y'all was talking about. What happened when the beef popped off? She didn't do what no Nubian queen do. She didn't do what no Egyptian do. If you from Oakland, all right, let's just say not even you from Oakland. Normally, you just American, you black, you got some beef. You probably, first, if you got some family, you probably call your family, let your family know. Like if you got cousins and shit, you don't even have to trip off your partners and friends. You just tell your cousin, I got some beef. Let's go around the corners, slap these fools, right? Well, that's true too. In ancient Egypt, when they had beef, any pharaoh who was real, who had beef, he went to the south and further than this south to get his people to fight. Then they come back north and fight all the way up to the Levant, all the way to Libya. Right? Yeah, I'm out here. I just woke up. I got some time. I'm going to keep y'all up all night with these teachers. It's good. They go to fight. Remember, you going to the south. You're going to go get your family. You go get your people. And if you need to go deeper into your roots, you do that. I had to go to Mississippi, bring back some cousins if the beef was big enough. You feel me? I'm just saying, though, if you got to go to your extended family, like it's getting crazy. Well, that's what they'll do. They'll go to their extended family. Now, tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me where I messed up. Actually, that's where Cleopatra messed up, and that's why I'll be like, she couldn't have been nothing. When the beef popped off with the Romans, where'd she go? Syria. Amani Shaketo, Amani Renez. Matter of fact, before that, we could go all the way back. We could go Pianki. We could go 25th Dynasty. You want to go before that? You want to go to the old kingdom of Egypt? You want to go to Pepi? Oh, let's go before Pepi. You want to go to Unes? You want to go to Winnie? Let's go to Winnie. Take their ass back, bruh. When Winnie had beef, with who? I'll say these names on YouTube, then I'll pull up the damn documents, show you in the European English that we read, then I'll show you in the Medu Neter. When he had beef with Asiatic sand dwellers, and when he had beef with Libyans. This is how they quote it in the text, right? When he said, man, we got to go back to the house. Shot down. Well, let me ask. We're going to do this. We're going to say pyramid. I messed that up. Unes. Right? And that's going to be Winnie. They just say Unes. Now let's look at this. So y'all can understand what I'm talking about. I want you to see where this is at. I'm going to say Saqqara, Egypt. All right. Let's see the map. All right. So look at this bend way down here. We below this bend right here when we talking about Thebes and Elephantine and all that and the heartland. Now you see where his pyramid is? Way up here. So now you get the context. He up here trying to do some work. I ain't even doing it like that. I'm showing y'all with the facts. He built this pyramid up there, but we gonna read his text that he wrote and left in the pyramid, was talking about how he had to fight off the Timahu and the Aamu, and they wasn't strong enough. So guess what he had to do? He had to go get his cousins from the south. He didn't say his cousins. Now, you know, in Egyptology, they do stupid shit. They're going to tell you he formed a slave army. Things that are probably possible once gunpowder is out. You can't even form a slave army with bow and arrows. You got to have equal amount of men shooting the bow and arrows as the slave army. Or let's just take 10 men. Let's take 20 men, right? Put them in the room. And say, first of all, if you got equal numbers, you already, that ain't really the scenario. But let's just make it like that. Take 10 of the men in the room and say, hey, I need y'all to make a slave army out of the other 10 men in the room. How y'all gonna pull that off? You ain't got no definite way to do it because y'all just gotta beat those other 10 men into some type of submission. It ain't no gun that's gonna force them into that. Now, they got an army of thousands of men to help them. Not from these areas of Upper Egypt, but from where? Do they say in the text? Wawat? Wawat. Yo, I'm telling you, from Winnie that I'm talking about, we in about 5th dynasty. He ain't 4th. Let me see, I got it open up right here. I'm just gonna say, I know he ain't 4th. He 5th. Unes. Look, is he the 5th dynasty? A 5th, man. Come on, man. Why I be doing that all the time? Look, he the 5th dynasty, right? Remember that. So some say Unes, some say Winnie, right? 5th dynasty, right? Old kingdom. Now, he built this pyramid up as a look. They gonna tell it in a way to where the Nubians is about to be subjects. I'm gonna open up the real text in the Medu Neter and we gonna read what it says. Little is known of Unes' activities during this reign, which was the time of economic decline. Egypt maintained trade relations with the Levantine coast and Nubia, and military action may have taken place. And so, seriously. Is you really acting like you don't know if that happened? All right, well, we're going to read the text. The growth and the decentralization of the administration in conjunction with the lessening of the king's power continued under Unes, ultimately contributed to the collapse of the old kingdom under some 200 years. So, that's how they tell it. It'd be like, you know what I'm saying, I'm about to go back to the house. And cats will go back down south and then that's what they'll start calling intermediate periods, where someone from Thebes say he the king, someone up here, now that there's a void of power up here, they just say they the king, and it gets to going like that. Right? Well, let's keep going, because I don't want y'all to miss anything I said about where they would travel to get their strongest warriors. Now, if you know my moniker, out of all my studies, you know, I wasn't about to grab no name or like no mythological ancient Egyptian shit, bruh. Because I feel like if it was black people, then all of the different personality traits that pop up amongst the people was there. Everybody wasn't burning incense. Everybody wasn't sitting Indian style. Some dudes was doing the equivalent of, and that's not me, but they was doing the equivalent of shooting dice behind the whatever. Dice came from Kemet. As a matter of fact, Tahuti, the Netcher, made dice. So if someone wasn't shooting dice in Kemet, you tripping. I'm only saying that to say some of the romanticism that we give these things when we learn them, we just need to cast it to the side. We can start to learn a little bit more when we look at things more practically. Like, how do you rule 30 miles? If I gave you 30 miles today, it's yours. You the king of that 30 miles, but I don't give you no vehicle. How do you rule it? You gonna walk down the street telling everybody, I'm the king of this 30 miles. They're gonna laugh at you. You're gonna have to enforce some law. You're gonna slap them and say, why are you slapping them? Because I'm the king of this 30 miles. You want some problems? And then you're gonna get jumped. So you had to have some people with you. I'm just being more practical about it. Well, to stick to their situation, Winnie supposedly was way more than 30 miles. They talking about it take how long you say? 3 weeks to get from Thebes to Memphis in a boat. That's what they said back then. So you got problems up here. All of your people that you really need ain't there. If you building a pyramid, you're most often employing some of the foreigners who are up here. Just like today. I'll show you all of it. We're going to go through the text because I said that about 54 times. So we got to go through the text, especially when I say shit like Asiatic sand dwellers. I don't be wanting people to think that's my vernacular. That's what's in the text. But it's in my presentation because I need you to understand that even the people there today, to the ancient Egyptian, would have been considered Asiatic sand dwellers. They just overwhelmed the place. Because these were people who came in from the east. And who would they go get to fight the Libyans and the Asiatic sand dwellers? Their family, the Nubians, the Cushites, the southern people from the south. Now, I said that enough times. Let's start proving it. So which one we gonna pull up? First, let's look at Unes. I'll just see if they got that ready for us. Autobiography, the AUT of Winnie. Autobiography of Winnie. ResearchGate. That might be cool. Check security. What is y'all talking about? What usual activity y'all got from me? Yeah, it must be something going on. Unusual activity. Ripping. Biographies of persons and place, the tomb complex of Winnie the Elder. We don't want that. We want the autobiography. I'm going to get it from somebody else. PDF. Put PDF. Or translation. All right, here go a little translation, but we like to do it better than that. We want to do it with the glyphs. We looked over this. Oh, here, I know it's in this book, but not with the glyphs. We don't have, is it in the TLI? Yeah, it's in the TLI. I know how to find it in the TLI. So, I love being in the text corpus. And my brain just told me a word that's in the text that's going to make it pop up in the TLI. TLI is the Thesaurus Lingua Egypti, ancient Egyptian text corpus. To find this, I'm simply going to put my moniker for studying in here. I'm going to put Magi. I put an M, a capital D, which represents the DJ consonant cluster. So that's where we get Jai from. Magi. And then I'll put maybe I'll just put a Y to see if that pops up first. Right? That ain't popped up first. All right, so now they want me to translate. Well, I've seen them have that in this dictionary, but I'm going to do better. So, M, do they want the A? Excuse me. I'm trying all kind of different things. Don't mess me up, but the reason why is because they got different transliteration systems, and I wonder which one they're using here to put this word here. I'm just going to put MD, and you'll see what I mean. Here it go. All right, here it comes. See, I should have just put MDA. So let me go back and show you. I put MAD. I should have put an A after this. Look. Bow. And then it would have went. Bow. So we there. So y'all see here it says Mija. Gebaline in Nubia. That says Gebiets in Nubia and Mija in Nubia. All this parentheses in Nubia, you're going to start to throw that away. Parentheses is what they forcing you to think, like, why you got to put that next to it in parentheses? So one of the earliest mentions of the land of Mija will be from Winnie. That's my way to find it in the text. So let's see. We got to translate this real quick right here. From the German. Yeah, my Elephantine Archive, 6th Dynasty. Damn, it should be earlier than that. So I need 5th Dynasty. And they started in the 6th Dynasty. So that's because the version of Mija I put in there isn't the one from Winnie's text. So I know another one I could do. Let me see if I got the one from on Winnie's text. Oh, I know which one. This one. The one that got hyphen. The one that got hyphen is probably the one that leads to Winnie's text. Unes, whatever y'all want to say. 5th Dynasty. Huh? No, that ain't the 5th Dynasty. That's Amenemhat III. So that's way more recent. Why didn't it lead me back there, man? Damn, I could find that text hella faster than this. I just thought it would have been a way to do it. So first I'll read it to you from the English so you could see. But now I want to try this with a Y on it. All right, forget it. Well, that's the land of Mija. We got it right. But we don't got the Unes text yet, which I could just pull up in a different way. I ain't tripping. I just want to show you on the TLA. Man, so what's happening now is, I know they mentioned the land of Mija one of the first times is in Winnie's text. But I guess the way they mentioned it in there. All right, so let me show you in Marion Litchum's work. Autobiography of Winnie. I'm just going to go right here. And you'll see this is going to be from Lithium. I'm going to show you at the bottom. Look. Because she's got one of the most popular translations. How do I get this off my screen? Bro, it's weird stuff happening with my computer. Did I get like why I got shit popping up like that? Is it this website? I'm getting off of here. I don't want to see all this shit. Like, I can't control them pop-ups. And it just got through my thing. Let me try a different one. A more qualified website. It's in here, ancient Egyptian literature. Oh, there you go. Tour Egypt. Sorry. I'm going to take it from Tour Egypt. Oh, man, golly. My connection is not private. What's going on? Is my connection? Oh, no, that's that website. That was my security keeping me off of that website. This is turning into, it's making me want to tell you to take my word for it. So I'm gonna just read it from any source. It's gonna show the same thing. If I can learn how to get these damn ads off my what? Look, y'all, I'm actually clicking ads, bro. This is horrible. Oh, horrible. I don't want to do that no more. Your computer will get all infested. Like I'm on a laptop. I mean, not a laptop, but a PC. Here we go. Marion Lithium. I apologize it took me so long to get a qualified source. And then it's just going to be spinning. Maybe I need to do some, I don't know what's up, dude. Every time I try to pull something up right now, it's doing this to me. So this Chrome extension ain't working right. Damn, it's horrible. I'll do some computer work tomorrow because every time I try to click on one of them sources. Now this is the EEF. You can find it in here, man. And it'll be hella different versions. Should be. I'm getting hella mad. I'm tripping. I got all these sources. Let me come over here. Autobiography of Winnie. They don't got that in here? They gotta have that in here. Because down way down the timeline, it should have been in the beginning. Let me see. All the links I found to that seemed like they was compromising my computer. I don't know what's going on, whether I gotta buy some protection or something. Now I'm trying to find it at my normal links. I'm gonna pull it up though, because this can't keep happening. I know I just was on Internet Archive. Why is this not working? Is there another way to open it? Watch this. Open link. No, don't watch nothing, man. This is discouraging me. So let me get off that hype because I don't want to be discouraged. It was going to make me be like, I'm going to sleep. I should have just probably restarted my computer. But I wasn't anticipating all this. Well, in the text, dog, everybody read it before, and why don't you read it on your own in the English, and you'll be able to see. I don't believe it. One of these gotta open up. All right, we just gonna take it from him right here. Watch. Winnie the Elder. Winnie's career is subjected to a long. Winnie's career is the subject of this long inscription from his tomb in the Middle Cemetery of Abydos. The false door and other elements of the tomb mentioned in the text are preserved in the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. The sarcophagi of Merim Ra, which he had quarried and brought back from Nubia, according to the text, is still in the burial chamber of the King's Pyramid. In his analysis of the career, Eri sums up Winnie's personality. And so he's going to be talking about it. He just ain't going to share the text. I still can show you one part. Here you go. This is all I've been wanting to show people, even though you should know to show this. If I'm seeing all these ads, I must be through, huh? Or is it these websites that show you these ads? Or did I click like some type of virus, bro? Look. I was asking me to unlock the next 10. Oh my God. I ain't doing that no more. Back in the day, I used to just click the autobiography of Winnie and get a qualified source, and everything will work. Now I'm pulling it up. The book just spin all that. So forget it. That messed up that little part. But just know that from the beginning of time, I'm going to find it. Don't trip it. But I want to see if I can find it in here. From the beginning, don't trip. Oh, no. From the beginning of time, right? They would have to visit in the first intermediate period when Mentuhotep came up out of the first intermediate period and unified Egypt. It was because he could do what? It's because he had a line on the south. And he could go to the south and get his thing popping. This makes me want to go play the sticks. I might go play the sticks, bro. Because my computer's spinning. Right? And it's not letting me do what I'm doing with my team. But my team on the game is working fine. I'll come back tomorrow. I ain't going to stop right now, but I will be back tomorrow. If I can't show what I got to show, I'll just continue this in the morning. Because why is this twirling on me? Like, am I even, I don't even know, blood. Yeah, I had to come see if I was even still alive. Look, if I can't show what I gotta show, I'll just continue this in the morning. I had to see if I was still on here. All right, there's some people in the chat. We're going to keep it popping. Y'all up on the late night, 33. Okay. That got me back juiced. I didn't know. So cool. It's not a big deal to show that. I'm gonna use a different browser to show that. I bet you if I use this, it'll open probably. So what's it called? I'm not inscriptions, it's autobiography. B-I-O. A Winnie. Let's see what happened. It was just not popping up on my Google. I wanted that, now it's giving me different sources too. Man, my Google acting up. But let me see if it's, they didn't even show me this one. Here we go right here, man. See the full PDF, please. Continue with Google. Oh, I ain't signed in on this browser, I guess. Oh, I gotta do all that. Oh, my. I'm just gonna read it from here. Read online. I can't even download it. Okay, cool. Well, at least they let me know that it is in my. Now I got to say archive.org. It's my Google. I think archive PDF. What? Why is this not the book though? Now this is opening up. Is this the book? Autobiography. Well, Thomas, right. Okay, cool. I've been looking for that for about 30 minutes, dude. There we go. Ancient Egyptian literature. She don't got the glyphs in here, dude. I'm just trying to show you what I'm showing you, because cats won't believe me, right? So that's why I did the song Harkuf, right? And so that we can know. Now look, let me see how big this gets. We're gonna read that thing. So for some reason it was my Google browser acting all stupid. I'm gonna fix that. I'm looking for the proper inscription, so don't mind me. Here you go, right here, look. The Autobiography of Winnie. All right. So I went through that painstaking. It wouldn't have been painstaking for nobody else with a normal computer. It just happened like that for me. It's like the stars and cosmos making me prove I really want to do this, right? Because I know it's easy for you, it's just hard for me. But look, I want you to see that from the first stories of beef in Egypt, they was relying on Nubians, and I'm using these colloquial terms, relying on people of the South to help them fight the invaders of Egypt. So I guess you would say the people of the South wasn't invaders, huh? They was the ones helping you fight off the invaders. But we're going to read this from what she says. The inscription is carved on a monolithic slab of limestone, which formed one wall of a single-room tomb chapel. The structures may have been, a cenotaph? I don't know that word. A cenotaph rather than a tomb. Y'all know what that probably is. Cenotaph rather than a tomb. The text consists of 51 vertical columns of finely carved hieroglyphs, preceded by one horizontal line which contains a prayer for offerings. Since some scholars include the first line in the numbering while others omit it, I have given double numbers. The stone, we don't need to read that part. We don't just read the shit, bro. Like, I can't read all day. Let me see. Let's read. Oh, here you go. I can read the majority of this until you get what I need you to get. So here we go. The Count, the governor of Upper Egypt, the Chamberlain, warden of Nakin. Stop. Go to the map. People don't be believing you. Go to the map. He said he the warden of Nakin. How is this all of a sudden open now? Oh, this is going crazy. Hold up, the warden of Nakin, let me find that. So y'all can peep game. See, look. I gotta make it bigger. Here go Nakin right here. I need y'all to know these things. Way down here. See, the Greek name is Heracronopolis. That's a pseudonym. They wasn't even there. When people was there, they called it Nakin. You see Nakin? Now, strangely enough, they only got this two reed leaves inside of an oval for Niken. I don't know how that's like Niken, but I do know this place. So the place that they're claiming, I gotta go to the other browser, right? Is way down south below Thebes. He's the warden of Niken, the mayor of Nekheb. I don't even know where Nekheb at. It's probably, see, Niken is the greater region, so Nekheb is probably inside of Niken. The sole companion honored by Osiris, foremost of the Westerner, when he says, I was a fillet-wearing youth under the majesty of King Teddy, my office being that of the custodian of the storehouse. When I became the inspector of the tenants of the inspector of the tenants of the palace, when I had become overseer of the robbing room under the majesty of King Pepi, His Majesty gave me the rank of companion and the inspector of the priest of the pyramid town. While my office was that of blank, His Majesty made me the senior warden of Niken, the place I just showed you. His heart being filled with me beyond any other of his servants of his. I heard cases along the chief judge and the vizier, blah, blah, blah. He gonna go tell you his place, right? I want to keep going, because I need us to get to where some beef break out. But you still senior warden of Niken. All right, now look, what does it say here? Because y'all thought I was being cruel and harsh and making shit up. So I want to put it big on the screen. Y'all read it. Y'all see it already. To fight, this sentence say, this paragraph say, to fight the Asians, I went and got some black people, some more black people. But let me read it for you. When His Majesty took action against the Asiatic sand dwellers, His Majesty made an army of many tens of thousands from all of Upper Egypt. Man, stop. Why didn't use nobody from Lower Egypt? Because that, first of all, you keep thinking Upper Egypt, and that's they taught you that in Egyptology class. He put together all the warriors of Ta Shama'u in the north, and from Lower Egypt, from all of the two sides of the house. So I don't want to say he didn't get nobody from Lower Egypt. It said that he got some people from all of the two sides of the house. I'm not about to go look where that is. We did it before, from Sinjar to Ken Sedru, right? So that's when they talk about that. And from, that's another point I just noticed. So I have to look into this Ken Sedru at another point in time. But right now, what we're dealing with is Urthet Nubians, right? I know where this text is, man. I be showing it all the damn time. I got it in one of my old works. I got it in, let me show you it. It's in Rap God WordPress. I'll put Tap God. Rap God WordPress. And on my Rap God, what? I put Rap God WordPress and I ain't on the top. On Google, I'm on the top. Here you go. Rap God WordPress. Now, this is my WordPress. If you want to read my work from back in the day, it's still cool. It ain't all outdated. If you don't know this stuff, then it's still hot. But you can see I started writing in 2012 and stopped in 2015 and decided to start publishing books at that point. But I'm coming here to show you a particular text. So we talking about, let me see where I can find it. E.A. Wallace Budge. No, Nubia. Nubia. Let me see. and some documents I wrote. It gotta be in here. So watch this. It's just one little clip I need you to see. Tell me it ain't in there. And you can read this article too. Oh, here we go. I'm talking about the inscription of Winnie. Okay. The primary is Cairo. I got the prime. Oh, here go the lines. Yeah, I knew I had it, man. In my old work. Wow, look. Buddha bip. Oh, this website got taken down. Well, I'm still gonna keep pushing. Hold on. Because I found my work and I know I got it. I took a screenshot of it, so fear not. You gotta see this and you're gonna learn something, so sometimes it's worth it, yo. Like, sometimes it'd be worth the wait. The Hexy, the Pharaoh. We want to get down to that's Senro Set, that's Mahasi. All right, Nubians, primary text, Dr. Manu Ampin. Oh, so this is where we was. So this ain't here either. Where's the picture of it? Man, damn. I'll be looking all over all night for stuff. But what I need you to see is, it seems like it's a picture that used to be here that ain't here. Let me see, is anything here that I used to be there? Nope, everything gone. So, I hate this. I wanted to show you the Medu Neter. Now, when I looked it up earlier, this is the word I put into, look, Mijah. See? I know the word is in this text. So why when I go to the text corpus and put Mijah in there, they don't got this 5th dynasty text in the text corpus? Or maybe they got the word transliterated in a different way. But I don't want you to lose the point. Here's the point. When His Majesty took action against the Asiatic sand dwellers, like I told you, don't equate that to like Chinese people or anybody who we call Asian today. That's not what was happening. This word is A'amu, and it was Europeans who told us say Asiatic here, right? You should just try to ask who was the A'amu really. They would be the people who came in from the east. It would be including the people, a lot of the people who are there now. His Majesty made an army of many tens of thousands from all of Upper Egypt, from Yebu to the south to Menenet in the north, from Lower Egypt, from all of the 2 sides of the house. Now, at the time period when this text was translated, I could clearly show you, and to this day, the word Negro in the European perspective is the definition. Mijah Negroes, Yam Negroes, Wawat Negroes, Ka'au Negroes, and from Temay land. This is who he made his army of. If I show you so remember this, Wawat. Let's go back to the map. Look how far down you're going to have to go before it say Wawat. And I can make it smaller because I'm not streaming vertical. Here go Wawat. So you see what's going on? You building your pyramid way up here. Remember we looked at that? Saqqara? There goes Saqqara. You got some beef with Asiatic sand dwellers. Now you can start to see how it's working. You need to get rid of them. So where do you go? How you go way down here? Seriously though, y'all. It don't make no sense unless these is really your people. That's like, why would I go way to Mississippi with some beef on the West Coast? Because that's where my family from. Feel me? So, now look, this is why. Let me see if I can show you some of the other places. Unfortunately, on this map, because those locations are Nubian, in the Nubian Eastern Desert, they don't show you them on this map. But I think I got a map. I know a map that got them on there, but I'm not going to do that no more on my show. You can just look it up when you want to. Because I'll be looking for stuff for so long and mess up the show. So you can find a map that show all of the polities that are in the Eastern Desert. But he naming them. Urthat Nubians. If you want to look at this makes more sense as people in the local. It makes the best sense as Southerners. If you want to, it makes the best sense as Southerners if you want to be more academically correct. Because this is what he's saying. They went to the South and got people from Urthat, Mijah, Yam, Wawat, and Kaka'u, and Temeh land. Now, if you want to talk about where Timahu was, there is where this land of Temeh was, it was south of Tashama'u, kind of like in the Western Desert. Even though we got a Timahu who is known to be up north to the west, we don't want to confuse that with this land of Temeh that's to the south. Because when he fight the Timahu, how is he fighting the Timahu with some people from the land of Temeh? We would confuse those two. The Timahu being the Libyans, but the land of Temeh. My mic messing up, Babylon? Anyway, and from Temeh land. So let's look at what she said. And y'all got that. He had beef with Asiatic sand dwellers, not Nubians. He went and got more Nubians to fight off the Asiatic sand dwellers. So listen what happened. Is that the next page? 21? Nope, that ain't the next page. I'm glad I noticed that. Temeh Nubians, it's over here. His Majesty sent me as the head of the army, there being scouts, royal seal bearing soul companions of the palace, chieftains and mayors of the towns of Upper and Lower Egypt, companion scout leaders, chief priests of Upper and Lower Egypt, and the chief district officials and the head of the troop of Upper and Lower Libya, from the villages and the towns that they govern, and from the Nubians of those foreign lands. All right. I was the one who commanded them, he's saying. So when they came back to fight, I was telling them what to do. He says, while my rank was that of the overseer of the royal tenants because of my rectitude, so that no one attacked his fellow, so that no one seized the loaf or sandals from the traveler. But I'm not going to do all that. I'm just going to read the part relevant to what we're learning about Egyptian relying on the southern power all the way from the time of Winnie to Cleopatra. I don't be forgetting what I'm talking about. I'll smoke another blunt too. The history return. Oh, what? Dude, I made those words up. It don't say that nowhere on the screen. This army returned in safety. All right. It had ravaged the sand dwellers' land. This army returned in safety. It had flattened the sand dwellers' land. This army returned to safety. It had sacked the strongholds. This army returned to safety. It cut down the figs and the vines. It had thrown fire to all the mansions. It had slain the troops in many tens of thousands. It has carried off many troops as captives. So that is the first time that we see textual attestations to them having to go down to Nubia to get enough people to fight off these sand dwellers, right? But that was always a problem for the Egyptian people. Now look, so he keeps going on. He was the chamberlain of the palace, the Sanballat, the king Mer-Ra, the count, and he said from Yebu to Medinet in the north because I was worthy of his majesty. I just want to speed read this to get to the part I want to get to, but I won't be able to speed read all that. You'll be losing too much. So I'm just going to completely skip it and then go to this. His majesty sent me to dig 5 canals in Upper Egypt and to build 3 barges and 4 towboats of acacia wood of Wawat. Now let's stop. Where they get that wood from them boats? See, they always put it on the Byblos boat. We know about the Byblos boat. It's a real thing. I find it in plenty primary text. A Byblos boat is different than the regular little seafaring canoe you're going to go across the Nile with. It's more sturdy. But he says clearly here, and to build 3 barges and 4 towboats of acacia wood from Wawat. Do we have to go back to the map? No, we don't. Then the foreign chiefs of Erthet, Wawat, Yam, and Mijah cut the timber for them. See, now he putting it on thick. But I don't think he's lying. He just putting it on thick. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you such a boss that they bosses cut the trees for you, and you did it all in 1 year. So they cut the trees for you for the whole year? Some of this is just embellishment, but it's what you need to learn is the relationship between the two. Then we're going to read the next one, because it's his partner. And I made a song about it. We need to listen to that slap real quick. Before I read the next one, we're going to listen to that slap. And it's appropriate for this late night because it's slow. There ain't no screaming, no cussing. Let me see. I might have cussed once. Then the foreign chiefs of Erthet, Wawat, Yam cut the timber for them. I did it all in 1 year, floated. They were loaded with very large granite blocks for the pyramid. See, people don't even understand this. They be saying the Africans didn't build the pyramids. And you can go read text where they talking about they loading up blocks for the pyramid. So either you listening to some Joe Rogan type new wave dude who would rather give the credit to aliens than Africans for building the pyramids. I just read the sentence that said, I did it all in 1 year, floated. They were loaded with very large granite blocks for the pyramid. It says Mer-Ni-Ra. Oh, see, they messed that up. Merin-Ra, whatever. But they moved the N around. They always do that and make a new name out of that. It was probably Mer-In-Ra. They say Mer-Ni-Ra appears in splendor. Indeed, I made a saving for the palace with all these 5 canals. So he saved the palace. And the king Mer-Ra, who lives forever in August, whatever, exalted and mighty more than any god. So everything came about in accordance to... I'm just reading. This isn't the part that's significant to what I wanted you to know. I'm not doing no more just reading. But you seen it was all oh, I just noticed one last thing that I never noticed. Look at this. This is beautiful. Look at this. Golly, dog. Look at this. We got one more place in Nubia right here where he went. Look. Where did it go? It's going to be over here. Don't trip. There it go. His Majesty sent me to where? It looks like it says Ibhat. Because that's probably how they was transliterated. That's I bet, bruh. I bet. So I could write a whole new book because ain't nobody put this together. You see, they've been trying to figure out how. Let me show you some shit. I got to show you some shit all around scholarship. Hold on, because you won't understand what I'm talking about. And if you can see what I seen, you agree with me 100%. So watch this. They have come from the well of Abet. H-E-T. Let me put an H right there. H-E-T. Oh, I didn't even eat my dinner. Oh, I got dinner. I'm about to go eat dumb dinner. They have come from the well of Abet. It's a document we're looking for. Here we go. We have come from the well of Abet, the ethnogenesis of the Magi. Right? You see that? See that? We have come from the well of Abet. Now, if I know I got this already downloaded. Shout out to Kate Liska. I'm going to download it again so she can get more downloads. So, oh man, is my thing going to do that again? No, I clicked download. So I think my hard drive is waking up. Excuse me. I got an old external hard drive that got hella terabytes. It'll be going to sleep if I ain't using it. There you go. I'm going to just skip around this document, but I've encouraged people to read this plenty of times. I want to just take you to some imagery and something she talks about. Y'all thought I made that up? A lot of the stuff, I don't really try to make up shit. When I'm making it up, I tell you. Wait, what she said about Magi and the Hesi right here? Look, just what I say. Simultaneously, a clear distinction between the terms Nehesi and Magi was promoted within the Egyptian administration. Man, stop doing this, man. They keep on lumping everything together, but she keep telling you they didn't lump things together. They looked at this as different, but that's not what I want you to see. And I'm going to remember why we're here. It gotta be this document. Oh no, she wrote another beautiful document. Wonderful, not beautiful. She wrote another wonderful document. It's about Ashait. So I gotta click on her name to see her papers. The actual document is about one of Mentuhotep's wives. And in that document, you're going to see what I need you to see. 8 Magi walking into the palace. Dude, she's the master of the Magi. Like, she specializes on the Magi. So if you want to learn about those warriors, and you don't know Kate Liska's work, you're going to love it. This is the one we're looking for. Discerning Ancient Identity. The Case of Ashait's Sarcophagus. Now, I know I'll be going on like 50-minute tangents, but they are all cohesive. I'm still teaching the same thing we was teaching from the beginning. But I'll be needing, like, if I had a class, it'd have to be 4 hours, because I'll be having to let you see things I've seen so you can come to the similar conclusions, or you can at least see my stance is qualified. So now I'm going to download this document, Discerning Ancient Egyptian Identity. And I think I'll be thinking people, Because when I talk to people on my show, cats can't even remember what they talking about 2 seconds ago. Let alone expound on one thing for like hella long. Cats be just like all over the place. Cancel. So here we go. Now, what we'll see in this document, so if in case anybody forgot what's going on right now, I'm about to refresh it. We was just reading about how in the 5th dynasty, Unas had beef while he was building this pyramid. He had to fight off some Asiatic sand dwellers. So you would just say, why not just start dumping them? Because Egypt wasn't built like that, quite frankly. And pun intended, because it wasn't built like that, and it literally was not established in that regard. But they also was not the strongest at fighting off people. They had to go get, let me tell you how that happened. See, I do so much expounding inside of expounding, but you're going to learn something. Why is Taseti the land of the bow and not the rest of Egypt? It goes back to probably some ancient times before, times that was ancient to them. And it has to do with the geology of the area. It is because the Nubian, the substrate, the Nubian sandstone is harder than Egyptian limestone. Did I say that right? I said that right. The Nubian sandstone is harder than the Egyptian limestone. So then, this is talking about the substrate of the Nile. This is something to understand, bro. You can say this shit the same way I'm saying it. I know you can. The materials under the Nile in Nubia is harder. So when the Nile come rushing, it can't carve out a floodplain. If it can't carve out a floodplain, not as much black silk can overflow. It still does it, but it don't do like Egypt, because when that same rushing water get to that softer substrate of the limestone, it can just knock it over and spread all out and create a huge floodplain. Now, what this got to do with the land of the bow? Well, then, it caused agriculture to develop in the areas that would be easily flooded. The lifestyle became more agriculturalist. But the people down south more, where the floodplain wasn't providing for agriculture like that, they still was hunting animals. And guess how they hunted them? With bows and arrows. So imagine just 50 years of you guys sitting over there growing vegetation and putting canals and learning how to do all that. And we down here shooting Numidian guinea fowl, right? And trying to shoot stuff with the bow. Eventually that became a military prowess to where all the shooters was in the South. Ain't that seem rather simple when I break that down? It was just that simple. It wasn't like they was punks, Egyptians. They just didn't rock like that. They wasn't shooting all the time, and y'all shoot better, so we're going to get y'all. Now, what you just learned is true. It was taught to me by Dr. Peter Lacavera at Emory University. But I didn't go to Emory. I just took a short course he had. Now, if that's true, then how could you form a slave army out of the shooters? It's almost impossible. As a matter of fact, it never happened. And they had a cool relationship at keeping Egypt what it was supposed to be against the Asiatic sand dwellers. Keeping them people out was the chief concern. And they could tell you why. They say they wasn't just racist or nothing. They just was like, nah, man, this is crazy. All these people coming in here, what? I can't even find a real Egyptian no more. I can read that document for you too. If I don't have the chance, it's called the munitions of Ipuwer. Just Ipuwer. Ipuwer. That's when he was complaining about how you can't find the real Egyptians like him no more. Everybody around there Asiatic now. So how we find that, and then motherfucker could tell you today what's going on? They think you don't read. But again, I'm just chilling, talking hella much. I'll probably be up all night. I came to this page to show you His Majesty sent me to Ibhat. I-B-H-A-T is Abet. So when we come over to the Kate Liska document, discerning ancient identity in the case of Ashayet sarcophagus, Ashayet was one of Mentuhotep II's wives. Here's the image on the sarcophagus right here. And we're going to look at this. And I want you to see something. And I need you to trip off racism and everything, how it don't work. Watch this. I'm going to show you something. So look at the names and numbers and just be as vigilant or as you want to be. Like, observe what you want. Take a screenshot. Download the document. First of all, in this text, this the boss right here. What do you notice? One of the things you notice in this, that her sarcophagi, whoever the artisan was, he went through the painstaking task. What's funny about this is her sarcophagus is hella well intact, and I don't think this is exactly it, but if you took a picture, it would look close to this. The hues, the different hues is what I'm pointing to. If you really want to get it in, Ashayet is darker than the sibling sitting right here, right? And very much darker than this person, but not as dark as these two back here. And definitely darker than her. But the coldest part about everything I'm about to show you, I won't reveal now, I'll reveal it in a moment. Let me just lead up to it. She is the great wife right here, right? Look at her number so you can remember later. I think that says 2882, right? This is Fetinet and I forgot this is Fetinet and Mess I don't remember their names. One of them is like Fetinet and the other one is like Mess something. It starts with the M, but I'm not remembering it. They are two magi women, as stated, as called by Ashayet in her sarcophagus. First of all, ask yourself, why are these women even important enough? Even if they're your servants, they're not. They're her friends. But why are they even in your sarcophagus? Are they that important in your life? You see what I'm saying? Like, who you gonna have drawn in your sarcophagus? Thank you. You ain't gonna have nobody. So these people was probably significant. Now, she called them magi. Okay? If I could show you, I can show you. Because I can just type magi on here. MEDJAY that way, and then you'll see a map. If I go to map, images. I gotta say Nubian C group. Just put C group, GROUP, because that ain't nothing else but the C group Nubia. So if you go to the C group Nubia, there was the map. I just saved it. It's probably this one or this one too. Any of these C group maps would have to include the land of Mijah. Hum. So I'm not going to go on an endless quest to show every single thing. I'm going to just go back to the map we're using and show you. It's in the Eastern Desert over here, right? And if you need that corroborated, you can go to the Oriental Institute and look up documents on the Nubian C group. And they'll show you the whole C group. It actually comes Eastern Desert way up here, all the way down to here, where you can find all these other polities. But they even told you they went to Wawat to get the people, right? So we got that clear. So let me see if I can get back to that. His Majesty sent me to Ebet to bring the sarcophagus chest of the living together with its lids and the costly August pyramidion for the pyramid. So they just writing too much shit. What is the costly August pyramidion? They're talking about the capstone of the pyramid. He went to Abet to get that, but he didn't come to her right here. Remember her number, 2888. It looked like her name is Abet. Their name is Fedinet and something with an M, but they're called Magi. So what do we have here? We have two locations in the Eastern Desert around the wife of one of the wives of Mentuhotep II, who was the unifier of Egypt. See, when all them families was fighting, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, 11 won. And so now you think the 11 dynasty, no, it didn't work like that. They was all in different areas at the same time. 11 didn't have to fight. 7 didn't really exist. Well, the way that 7 dynasty was stated in history is that it was 70 kings in 70 days. See what I mean? So they basically telling you 7 dynasty was just a bunch of turmoil. It wasn't nothing popping from that family. How you got 70 kings in 70 days? So the 8th dynasty, who was them fools? I remember that better at a better time. I probably shouldn't whip this out right now. I'm only missing the 8th. I know the 9th and the So the 8th was the ones who claimed they was related to Pepi. The 8th dynasty was some people who claimed relationship and ancestry for Pepi, because Pepi was from the 6th family, and that was the last ones to hold power. So the 7th was fake. What's up with Chuck Morgan? I'm up on a late night. When I fell asleep at about 7 o'clock, I missed my dinner, and I just said, forget it, let me stream on the late night. If I'm saying it correct, the 7th was 70 kings in 7 days. The 8th dynasty has said that they was related to the 6th dynasty. That was their claim to the throne. The Ninth Dynasty was Northern Contingency. I'm remembering in my memory. The Ninth Dynasty was a Northern Contingency, and I think that's who Caddy was with. Man, if I'm so right, I'm definitely right. I'm just being bold here. I'm gonna show you. So Keta was with the Ninth Dynasty because they were some suckers. Let me see. Ninth Dynasty. Oh, I can't take this page off. Why'd I say there was some suckers? There was some Northerners, right? And there was probably Asiatic, D-Y, and they was calling themselves king while other people was being humble. Let me see if Keta was the king of one of the kings of the Ninth Dynasty. Well, I see it right there. Look, Keti. I see Keti right here. Some of y'all might not know what's up with that. But this says Keti Neb Ka. I don't know what's up with that. But it has two T's above it. But it might not say that. Look, so that's Keti, what I tell you. See, because you could just read the shit first. Keti right here. This dude wasn't the man. He was in the Ninth Dynasty. I am remembering right. So I do got to give myself some credit. See, this the dude that now, when me and Reggie could talk about this, it was so Antefi wasn't none of them, bruh. Antefi was what? Antefi would have had to been down with the 10th family, man. I'm tired of this dynasty stuff. It'll throw you off. So Antefi, I could be wrong. I'm about to pull him up, but I'm gonna tell you about Antefi. Because when Egypt broke apart, man, if you was the governor of the heartland, you ain't hearing nothing. You ain't gonna let some fool. Who is this person? Let's look him up. His name was Keti. So let's look him up. This fool was a northerner, was like, I'm the king. You see, he put his own name in the charrette and didn't even do the stuff he was supposed to do. Well, he put Ankh Jet, life forever, at the end. So that's long live the king. That's where that came from right there. Life forever, right? So practically nothing is known about the events of Nebuchadnezzar's reign. It says, due to the constraining, that's not necessarily true. I can give you some sources that know a lot about it. It says, even the date is still difficult. Many Egyptologists assign Nebuchadnezzar to the 9th dynasty, possibly the 4th king of the second, and the second king bearing the name Keti. That's the one we tripping off. On the other hand, other scholars such as Jürgen von Beckerath believe instead that Nebuchadnezzar reigned during the subsequent 10th dynasty. So if I'm making that mistake between the 9th and the 10th, scholars is doing that too. But let's pinpoint this. I think he was with the 9th because Antefi went and hooked up with this fool, man. To surround him, to get with, they was trying to get Mentuhotep up out of there. So let me show you. Mentuhotep was the Thebans, right? And so say it was a king, and the king controlled everything from here all the way down about here. But then the king dead and there's a power void. And this is the main capital. This is where Antefi was from. Out of fact, from Thebes, I don't want to say this was the main capital. This was the first known. I would have been more accurate saying Thebes was the main capital, but you got to remember, everything from Thebes down is considered Tasseti at this time, right? And so it was a person I'm about to pull up named what? Antefi. So you got to put the Ankh, A-N-K-H-T-F-I, Antefi. Tifi actually means something, and it is a verb form. It's the Tifi verb form, but I'm not an expert grammarian right now. I don't remember what the Tifi would make the Ankh mean. I can pull up the book that it's in. That's in, just in case you want to know. Hotch's work. This Tifi is a verb form. I mean, so this would be living. It wouldn't be life, because if it got Tifi on it, this was a verb. But Ankh is life. But anyway, let's keep going. So this is Ankh Tefi, right? Look, Nomarch of the third nome of Egypt. That's Nakin. Remember when we was reading the Marian Lithium document earlier? Where she was like, he's the governor of Nakin. And just basically showing you these areas that is the heartland of them. Now, on Tifi, Tim thought, man, what I told you. Antefi was with the 10th family. He hooked up with the 9th family in order to try to beat the 11th family. Because he thought he was blacker than Mentuhotep. You think I'm playing? He thought he had more hooked up in the hood than Mentuhotep. The hood, the neighborhood, the community down south. He was a boss. This brother was no punk. He challenged Mentuhotep. He surrounded thieves. Let's read his story, bro. This dude was hard. Antefi was an ancient Egyptian nobleman, administrator, military commander, the nomarch of Nakin, and the supporter of the pharaoh of Heracleopolis Magma. See, look, a supporter of the pharaoh in Heracleopolis. Who is the pharaoh in Heracleopolis Magma? Dog, this is what I'm trying to say. So now you're going to see how they tried to surround Mentuhotep. Just peep game for a minute, bud. Don't nobody teach it like this. Look, I'm going to show you all this. They just told you he was the governor of Nakin, the nomarch. They're on Nakin. That's right below Thebes. This Mentuhotep and the Intef family. This Antefi. Now they was still always married when Pepi was alive, because we was all chilling under Pepi. But now Pepi family gone. He ain't got no successor, and he just died. And now it's beef, because in this area you telling people to pay taxes back to you, and that every time you can venture out, that's what your mission is. That's how you become, that's how you the king. The cattle, they count their cattle for you in their area and they pay taxes to you. What if somebody from down south just come through named Antefi and pass you up? Wait a minute, this say Heracleopolis, don't mess that up. Look, that's a Chronopolis. Let's go back to the text. That's not what the text gonna say. See, this says like Hercules, Heracleo. See Heracleo plus. This is a different place, and I'm gonna show you. Up here, Heracleopolis Magma. Look, not to be confused with Hermopolis. We gotta go way up here. Heracleopolis. So what happened now? You trying to tell me the brothers from the dark age, black, down here, you can't say nothing. They call it Nubia. Nubia mean Negro. So the brothers from down here, and yes, all the way up to Nakin, I'll talk about how this was called Kush during the time period of Thutmose, all of this area. Right under Thebes. The Viceroy of Kush governed from Thebes down. Remember that. It's like I'm the Viceroy of Mexico, but I'm in LA. And I got authority. That means something popping. You know what I mean? And so basically, anyway, let's continue. Thebes. Now let me show you. If he was from the kin, and he really was the governor of all of Tarseti, Antefi, he hooked up with dumbass Keti, who we was talking about before. But Keti was hard because this shit was all overran with sand dwellers. So now he like the king of the other people. And then he coming up river, moving to got all the way to here. He couldn't get past here. So from here up is the first dude Keti was talking about. From what family again? Let me go on my memory. He's from the ninth family. The ninth dynasty. So the eighth dynasty is out of this because they was like, they didn't want to do it with no fighting. They just had some hands in this type of situation, right? And so, again, if he snuck around Mentuhotep. So what could Mentuhotep do, y'all? And I heard the best story about this in a podcast. This dude was so raw in the podcast. If your enemy, you can't go south, you can't go upriver to get no help. Soon as you hop in the boats and start going, doof, 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 you in Antefi land in the kin. If he could kill you, then he can make all your people pay taxes back to him and eventually become the truer king of Egypt. I said truer because you got more and more area to cover. But, so, this is why if I go to Antefi, you're going to see he punked, look, which was locked in conflict with the Theban-based 11th dynasty for control of Egypt. Antefi from Black Egypt. Hey, all of it's black, but this one I want you to know. These are the parts where they be saying, ooh, woom, 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 woom. Well, this brother stepped up and said, check this out. First of all, I'm the king. I'm about to go lock. Dude, he locked Mentuhotep and them up in Thebes. No, they locked themselves up in Thebes and got scared. I don't want to say Mentuhotep and them and put that on the brother. But the Intef family was in control of Thebes. Antefi ran up. Watch this. Which was locked in a conflict with the Theban-based 11th dynasty, 11th family, the kingdom for control of Egypt. Hence, Antefi was possibly a rival to the a rival, yeah, not an ally. He was possibly a rival to the Theban ruler Mentuhotep I. And they saying possibly. Like, do they not be reading enough on Wiki? What made you write this and put possibly? It's written in history that he surrounded Thebes. First of all, let me tell y'all, stop thinking the shit they be teaching you. Egyptian cities, and I didn't argue with her, but I was talking to one of my good friend Egyptologists who disagreed with me that Egyptians, I'll just bust her wig with the sources, but I don't want to do that. That Egyptian cities were surrounded. They were encased. They had walls. So y'all think biblical cities had walls and Egyptian cities didn't? Walls and gates. I showed you the gates of Kemet plenty of times. The doors of Kemet, the gates, the walls of Kemet. So you think they just was saying that and really didn't build walls with all these wild animals running around? Dude, do you know that Manhattan, that Wall Street in Manhattan was really because they had to build a wall to keep animals out of Manhattan? So what make you think they wouldn't have had to build a wall in ancient Egypt? Like, how you think you could go to sleep comfortably with hella food and rations and animals. And a crocodile just happened to just want to go inland 30 feet and it eats you. Like, come on, dog. So they did have walls. And how do I know? Because I will read what Antefi's about to say when he say they wouldn't come out to fight. Now let's show. The prince, the count, the royal seal bearer, the sole companion, the elector priest, general, chief of scouts, chief of the foreign regions, the great chief of the nome of Edfu. I told y'all. See, when you start, this ain't even the primary text, but just above, they told you that he was the governor of Nikin. But they citing you his text where he tell you he's the great chief of multiple nomes. Edfu, which is right below Nikin. Heracleopolis, which is Nikin, right? And so those is two nomes of Tarseti. But he didn't say Tarseti, funny enough. Now, look. Horus brought me to the nome of Edfu for life, prosperity, and to reestablish it, and I did it. But listen, now they got this right next to this, as if this is about Tarseti, but it's not, man. Damn. Well, I don't know, but he said he found the house of Kui. Right, and I was thinking I don't know who Kui is, but Kui ain't the other king, Keta. So Kui must have been someone who preceded him. Because he said, I found the house of Kui inundated like a marsh. Right? It was flooded, abandoned by him who belonged to it, in the grip of the rebel, under the control of the wretch. So he found the house of Kui in the grip of the rebel, under the control of a wretch. I made a man embrace the slayer of his father. Damn. I made a man embrace the slayer of his father, the slayer of his brother, so as to reestablish the nome of Edfu. What does that mean? I made the slayer of his father. Wait, I made a man embrace the slayer of his father and the slayer of his brother as to reestablish the nome of Edfu. Oh, man. I know it ain't what I think you're talking about, so let me continue. I was as concerned with, for the lowest of the men as for the highest. I was a man who found the solution when I was lacking in the country, thanks to poor decisions, and my speech was clever, and my bravery won the day when it was necessary to join the 3 provinces together. They be lying to you. The 3 provinces, let me show you on the map. I told y'all. Heracleopolis, Edfu. What's the third one? Nebet. How do I know this is the third one? Because Thebes was owned by... Because Thebes was the Entef family. Mentuhotep and them. The 11th dynasty. So if he said he united 3 nomes, it was Tarseti. This is Tarseti. Because Antefi was the boss of Tarseti, but they ain't going to teach you like that. But he'll tell you straight from his mouth when it was necessary to join the 3 provinces together. I'm an honest man who has no equal, a man who can talk freely when others are obliged to be silent. The general of Aramat said to me, now let's look at this, because you want to know where this place is at. You feel me? Way that look. Oh, so he right by the bend, right up under this bend, right up under the bend. So let's go look at that. Look, he right here, bro. Like, let's not even play. This is where his general was at. So let's go back. The general of Armat said to me, come, O honest man, sail with the current down. That even proves that. So he's going up north to us because he's going downstream to the fortress of Armat. I then went down to the country of the west, Armat, and I found the forces of Thebes and Coptos had attacked the fortress of Armat. So hold on. This hella good, blood. This like a, talk about black on black. This the black on black crime you need to be looking at. Yeah, I said it. Off this. But the general of Armat said to me, "Come, O honest man, sail with the current down to the fortress of Armat." I then went down to the country to the west of Armat, and I found that the forces of Thebes and Coptos. So Thebes had hooked up with somebody else. Coptos is right down the street. Look. So that's Thebes and Coptos. See how it's going down? He found that the forces of Thebes and Coptos did what? They attacked Armat. And said, I reached the west bank of the Theban province. Now watch this. Then my courageous crack troops, this is why we read the Medunetter, because there was not no crackheads back then. And then he reiterated it. Yes, my bold crack troops. So you telling me 3000 BC, they done stopped and hit the, oh, no. Nah, that's just a bad translation. I'm joking. I don't know why they put my crack troops, but this is why we don't do secondary sources like this. It's only useful for YouTube. So then my courageous troops, I'm just going to skip the word crack. Then my courageous troops, yes, my bold troops, ventured to the west and the east of the Theban nome. See that? They went to the west and the east of the Theban nome looking for an open battle. But hold on. I have to take back what I said. Because it's not evidence. I will show you the walls of Thebes. All I'm taking back is that Antefes attestation was evidence of it. I'll direct you to what's called the Battle of Thebes, the Siege of Thebes during the Assyrian time period. All right? Where you can see the walls of Thebes. But anyway, I don't have no problem taking things back. Then my courageous troops, my bold troops ventured. So, because the reason why I took it back, he said they ventured to the west and the east of the Theban nome, looking for an open battle, but no one dared to, hold on. But no one dared to come out from Thebes. So I still could be right. But see, I was taking it back because he said they was looking to the east and the west. If Thebes had walls, right, then if you look into the east or the west of the nome, you're probably looking outside of the walls. Because you're not going to say that if you're inside of the walls unless they're really, really grand. And I don't think they would be that big. You talking about the east and the west and you entered? Yeah, you would have to say that. But I'm thinking they were in an open area because he said he's looking for an open battle. But then it says, but no one dared to come out from Thebes. So put it this way. I got to be right. Because if y'all was looking from the east to the west, you would have seen the houses that the people live in. Feel me? Like, there's no way that you going down the river, you hop off the river, people live on the water, so you would have seen the houses. So when he say, but no one dared to come out from Thebes because they were afraid of my troops, he's saying they stayed behind the walls of Thebes. But nevertheless, y'all do see this account, right? It was Antefi was a boss. I always be thinking like, what if Antefi would have won? But he messed up because he thought he was hard, and when that guard right here called him up, why was this a general of Ermont? Probably because he was under the other king, and that's why all the Egyptologists be saying that Antefi hooked up with Kedi. So if we go back to the map, he say he left it, he got all these three nodes together and came up here to help dude who was in Ermont, but Coptos and Thebes had already smashed on Ermont. So they went looking all around Thebes and nobody would come out for a fight. Now we got it. But look, don't forget, there's another king just right here that was favorable to Antefi. Let me still ask why. Because everybody needs some people in the South in order to win in the whole Egypt. You just need that. Remember I just explained the shooters and shit? So look, him hooking up with him down here surrounds who? It surrounds Mentuhotep's family, the Intefs. So this is where the brilliance come in. This is where I come in too. Guess what these fools had to do? They didn't write this in the text. It's speculated by many, but it's evident. Mentuhotep was hard. If you look at his wives, he had these really, really, really Nubian wives. So he got the Southern connection just looking like that. And he drew himself dumb black. People don't tell me nothing about no Osirian symbolism. What he had to do, he couldn't take the river north because he gonna run into the land of Kedi. This dude from the south, Antefi, think he hard. I need to get up this river somehow to get some more people to help me. But guess what? The coldest of the cold ain't even down this river. Guess where the coldest of the cold is at? In the eastern desert. The coldest of the cold. Well, if the people in the land of the bow learned how to shoot because the Nile, which was a river they had access to, didn't carve out a floodplain in their areas, what do you think the people who lived next to, I ain't finished, I told you I'd be expounded for hella long, the people who live next to I bet, see, if you go back to the book, the document, if you go back to the book, where did Mary Litchfield? I still got it open. I had the page in the book open so you can see it. I think it's over here. If we come back to Miriam Litchfield, I never got to Kate Liska. I'm sorry. I'm going to show you. Since I started all of this dialogue to show you what I was about to try to show you, and I was talking for 2 hours. Now I finally can show you. Look. And I think that's I bet 2 right here. But we can see. We're going to look and see. But y'all got to remember when we was reading the Winnie Pyramid, Winnie also said he went to Abet, right? To go get some fighters. Well, let's look at the list of names of the people who are on Ashet sarcophagus. Ashayet's. Ashayet, yeah. And I bet will be one of them, the light-skinned girl. So that lets you know something, that it was hella light-skinned. First, this will sound simple, but you can't use color when you look at ancient Egyptian stuff and think that you're going to be lining it up with races and shit. Like, that's stupid. This is the perfect example of it. Because the woman who looked like who she was representative of a white girl in this thing was actually a red bone Nubian. All right, so she's talking about it here. Asha Kim Seat, and his other wife was named Kim Seat. That literally means the black woman. Blood, this shit is crazy. Like, you can't even look. So let me just read this so you won't think I'm doing this. Unfortunately, these scholars rarely consider the woman's titles in archaeological context. Instead, they look primarily at the fact that several images of three of these women, Ashayat, Kimsi, and Kawit, are painted black, and that some of the skeletons may have displayed African cranial features. They surmise from this that the women were Nubian. It's because some seem to be Nubian, and because they held the titles of king wives, some scholars have posited that they were married to the king as part of a diplomatic marriage, which supposedly aided reunification. Now, I'm kind of leaning on that theory a little bit, because it's not because he married the women like the European be trying to say, but the women are evidence of his southern connection. This is how he was able to get what? Around Aunt Teffy. See? You got to get around this. So what did you learn? First of all, we got people, his wife know all kind of routes. I'm not making that up. I'm presupposing it. I'm conjecturing it. But if his wives was from the South, they possibly know other routes. You know other routes to get to the South without going through the heartland of Tassetti. See, you don't got to. It's because it's ancient times. If somebody see you, it take them time to go get back and report that they seen you. All you got to do is get to where you're trying to get. So remember in the Harkuf text where they say they went to Wawa and got his warriors? Well, by the time Mentuhotep and the 11th family sneaks through the eastern desert around, here go my evidence that what I'm saying is true. After they sneak through the eastern desert around Antefi now, they bring some words back with them that we had not seen in a long time. Okay? One of the words they bring back, the Mentuhotep family, is, I don't want to say that word. One of the first words they bring back is Magi. Okay? This word signifies an area of some of the best shooters in the world. That word appears with Mentuhotep, that he came back with some people whose land is literally, here go what? Eastern Desert below Antefi. It's also after, now I wish I could say it's during the reign of Mentuhotep, but let's remember, dynasties don't all run like that, they families. So it is the truth that Simroset and them could have very much well been alive while Mentuhotep family was dying out. Because the next term we get during the 12th dynasty is Kush, which is also way down here. You don't have that term before then. Now, one more term, and y'all know which one it is, comes to us in the 12th dynasty out of all of this fighting that happened, because I got to finish the story before I tell you about the last term. So if Tefi snuck around him and hooked up with the kings from Nisu or Heracleopolis, right? Then he said, I'm gonna do the same thing, but I'm going the other direction. He went to because somehow, but Tefi told you how he got past Thebes. He said, I walked past that motherfucker. Nobody came out. Feel me? So we know how that happened. He didn't have to go into no desert. But I'm proposing that I know that Mentuhotep had to go into the Eastern Desert because he came back with some people called the Magi who helped him then beat all these fools. Everybody. King Kedi up here, hands put on. Tefi, I don't even know what your fate was. You probably died before he got back. Because I don't remember him getting killed. He probably just died. This is his tomb. You don't get no tomb if you was, all right, look. It says, his autobiography also suggests that he only became nomarch of Edfu after seizing it from Kui, who was an ally of Thebes. Okay, so he took it from, oh, that's the Kui he was talking about. He says, while Thebes later defeated his forces and won control over Edfu, Heracleopolis, and Elephantine under the Theban kings Intef. So it wasn't Mentuhotep. See, he was older than Mentuhotep. It was Mentuhotep's daddy and granddaddy who was funking with him. Well, look, the Theban kings Intef, it says the completion of his tomb suggests that Tefi was not personally defeated in the battle himself. Of course you're going to put that in your own tomb. Just like a fool who walked around the corner didn't just get whooped around the corner. But then you go around the corner and everybody's still laughing. Right? And look, this is another fishing scene from Tefi, and they will want you to believe that's anything else being depicted here but a black African with a short fro. You think that's anything else, you tripping. So, all right, so what happened is, so now we back to the story. So, you got to remember, he fought, Mentuhotep won. He beat the people from Taseti because he went south more and got some better archers. Y'all the land of the bow, please. The south more I go, the more they know how to shoot. So I'm going to go get the Magi from right over here. What you want to do? Now, smash them out. So now, think about it. Everything from Thebes down is rocking with Mentuhotep. All of Tashamahu at this point, not all of it, because it stops at number 22. So not all of it. But a lot of Tashamahu, the heartland, the homeland, the important part, is with the 11th family now. With Mentuhotep, the Intefs. Now, they can just simply go downstream, smash everything out. Look, y'all pay y'all taxes to us. But dude up there told us to pay taxes to him. We're going to see him now. And you see if we come back or if he come back. That's just how that had to happen. So they're going down the river. Bow. They get him up out of there, Heracleopolis. This is the King Kedi that dared call himself a king. Got him up out of there and made all the people in the Delta now pay taxes back to Egypt. They looked at all these Asiatic motherfucking slandellers they had to fight. They was like, this shit crazy, bro. They went back down, and guess what the new term we come up with is after that? You think I'm playing? Kemet. That's when you get Kemet. There's no outrageous geological event or no type of
changing of the climate. There is nothing that happened in the 12th dynasty that would make them all of a sudden start talking about the goddamn black silk. Wasn't no overstrong flood, wasn't no nothing. All they did was finish getting rid of all these motherfucking up north sand dwellers. They took their shit back over and they made this name. Kemet, they call it the black land, the black country. You can't make this shit up. Even if I was wrong, you just see in all the books, they going down to black Africa to get rid of what they call Asiatic sand dwellers. Primaries. And we didn't look at no primaries. We looked at secondaries. This is 3 hours and 15 minutes, and I still got something in me. I ain't even ate my dinner, but I won't make this video be that long. Like, goddamn. So tomorrow when I wake up, we're going to be going over this Double Kingdom some more. You see, y'all thought we was just talking out the side of our neck. I got wind to it by Jeremy Pope. And he telling us in his book he wrote everything he know about it. So it's this understanding that we're going to have to come to is we're going to have to throw Upper and Lower Egypt out. We got to deal with the two lands because that helps us. You don't get no two lands out of Egypt. They had two lands that they looked at as separate places. And most of the people that did all the great shit was from Tashama'u. They kicked it in Tamehu and they did things in Tamehu, but wasn't nobody from Tamehu. Name where I'm wrong at. Who was from Tamehu? Nobody. I'm gonna go eat my dinner, my wife cook for me, play a video game. Then I'm gonna be falling off about 6 a.m. when everybody getting up. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Thanks for watching the show. I hope everybody at least learned one thing. I know a lot of y'all know a lot more than me, so y'all probably be laughing when I be talking about stuff. But I still know it might not be you. It might be somebody else who learned something. And that might be cool for them, right? So we're going to keep it in on this. We're going to keep getting it in on. Thanks for watching. And thanks for the contributions. All right, peace. I'm out. Sleepers. Sleepers, creepers. I ain't got no backwoods. I feel so bad. You want to know what? I will go to the store right now. Just